First thing we're going to talk about is trans activist leaves Blaire White stunned after the debate takes an unexpected twist. This is a video by Brad Palumbo, and the topic is mainly about trans women competing in female sports. This old tire debate. I thought we were done with it, but we still have a lot to talk about. So let's check it out. All right, so this is the video here. I believe this person on screen, this person is called Serena, I believe. And then Blaire White's also going to be joining Brad Palumbo. This is his channel here, so let's check it out.
I identify as a female, even though I was born a male.
So you believe humans can change their biological sex?
Yeah, I do.
Physical.
Okay, so we're already off to a horrible start. Humans cannot change their biological sex. I'm just here to, squash any doubts or any thoughts about that. I believe there are only I think in the animal kingdom, it's like 500 different species of fish, amphibians, and mollusks, I believe, can change their sex. But as far as humans, no, we cannot.
And what you really biologically are, you cannot change. Like, it's this new culture of entitlement that the activism and the politicization of this topic from the left has created.
You said all women should be able to compete in women's sports. How do we define who is a woman and who is not?
This should not take long. Should not take long to figure it out. I mean, it's easy just to assess the person, if they have to show any type of, what's it called, like a birth certificate or something like that, if people are questioning it. But yeah, if a biological female should have no problem, and a biological male, it should all be there. So
That, yeah.
it's not like based off of feelings, it's just what it is.
I feel that I am a biological woman.
There it is. I feel like I'm a ball. Well, you could feel anything you want. You could feel like you're a tadpole. You could feel like, you're a Republican, but I mean, it's like, it is what it is, man. I think anybody can, I guess, identify whatever they want. But I mean, in terms of what's true in the world, I think we have to kind of be a little bit more grounded than this.
I am biologically a female, even though I don't produce those gametes.
But you're not, though.
But you're not. Perfect response.
Are Democrats doubling down on trans athlete insanity?
A high school track meet in California is drawing national attention after a transgender athlete delivered a dominant performance, sparking protests and reigniting the debate for fairness and safety in women's sports. A.B. Hernandez took first place in multiple jumping events, including winning the long jump by more than a foot ahead of the second place competitor, and the triple jump by nearly 3 feet. Some parents and activists argue that the competition is totally unfair, calling on Governor Newsom to intervene.
Well, concerned parents and young women.
Air's Play World came back. He says, he looks like a woman because of the hair. Well, you just misgendered him just now by calling him a he. And so did I.
Athletes who don't actually enjoy having their sports dominated by biologically male, transgender identifying competitors, they're going to have to keep on waiting for Gavin Newsom to take any step in their support. Because
didn't Trump solve this whole, well, I mean, I thought he did by 10 months ago. Didn't he say that there was no longer going to be trans women competing in female sports? Like there was just going to be it's women competing with women and men competing with men. I mean, I don't know. I thought we solved this, but I guess there's more conversation to be had here.
While the California governor has made some rhetorical gestures towards moderation, like when he was on Charlie Kirk's podcast talking about this issue, he's actually standing by California law that allows this insanity. In a statement, he said he, quote, rejects the right-wing's cynical attempt to weaponize this debate as an excuse to vilify individual kids. The governor's position is simple: stand with all kids and stand up to bullies. Of course, no one, including kids who identify as transgender, should be bullied or harassed. But while it's still statistically pretty rare, allowing biologically male athletes who identify as transgender to compete in women's sports jeopardizes women's fairness, opportunities, and even their safety in some cases. And that's not okay. Even if you, like me, completely support the right of adults who identify as transgender to live however will make them happiest, you still shouldn't die on this insane and unpopular hill. Doubling down on the 20 side of an 80-20 issue like this is only going to lead to more backlash against the trans community. And it's a political nightmare.
Details will go. Welcome to the stream, sir. Good to see you back, Camp. The internet outage sucked. Yeah, dude, it really did, man. I thought this whole week was actually just going to be nothing but, storms and stuff. But luckily, after Wednesday, everything was back to normal, and I was relieved. I was just keeping my fingers crossed that everything was going to go smooth tonight. So, yeah, man, it feels good to be back, man.
For Democrats, apparently including Gavin Newsom. But that's just my take. Joining me now on Brad versus the World, we've got the right-wing transgender YouTube star Blaire White and the transgender activist and analyst Serena Munroe. Let's get into it. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, you just made a mistake. You addressed them as guys. I mean, it was so casual. Hopefully they didn't catch it, but I caught that. I thought that was pretty funny. So Blaire White, I am familiar with. I'm not familiar with Serena Munroe. This commentator looks very similar to an Adam Sandler character from Grandma's Boy. I don't know if you remember that movie, if anybody's seen that movie. It wasn't that old, but he reminds me of a character from that. He reminds me of a male character from that. I can't remember his name, though. We might have to pick it up later. But yeah, so let's check it out. Let's see what they got to say here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Serena, I'll start with you because you have a different perspective on this issue than I do, I imagine. So when we have Gavin Newsom saying, at the end of the day, he stands by these policies that allow people who are born biologically male and identify now as transgender, like A.B. Hernandez, the track athlete we just heard about, to compete in women's sports, it seems to me like something that's just kind of unfair at a base level, but also a very strange hill to die on for both the trans community and Democratic politicians. But what is your take on just broadly this issue with trans athletes in school sports?
Well, I mean, it's definitely an interesting topic. And for me, fairness is obviously the biggest question here. Is like, how can we, as trans people, compete fairly with biologically female or male individuals? For me, that's the crux of this conversation. Is how can we do this fairly?
I could solve it right now. You could either compete in male sports, or you could do a trans league and have just all the transgender compete with each other. I mean, that seems like a fair deal, right? I mean, we all got the same stuff downstairs, might as well just compete on that level, But if you don't, if you've paid the money to have that transition and stuff, I think you should still, I don't know, maybe they should create like a trans league and have them all compete with one another. I think that would solve everything.
I'm for it. I think, if someone identifies as female or male and they have been training for these sports all their lives, then they should be able to compete as that gender in that sport. It all comes down, how can we do it fairly, equitably, and ensure, that we're allowing these individuals who have this training to compete fairly against that gender. Because if they were to, because we don't.
Look, Benny, welcome to the stream, sir. Good to see you, man. What's up, Camp? Yeah, good to see you, man. This was something that came across my desk actually yesterday, and I was like, I thought it was kind of interesting because I thought we had already had this conversation. I actually thought we had solved it already, but apparently there's people that still think that transgendered women should be able to compete in female sports, even though they have crazy advantages in terms of strength and endurance. And I didn't watch this whole video, so this is going to be a fresh take, a complete reaction. I wanted it to be fresh for this stream tonight, so I'm really going in blind on this one. But so far, this person is completely delusional in terms of like what I've heard so far, that even if you've been training your whole life, I still don't think it's fair for biological men to compete in women's sports. It's just not fair. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care if you feel like a woman. That's just not what it is. I could feel like a lion. I could feel like a cheetah. Doesn't mean I can run with them.
I don't know long term how these individuals will compete in their quote biological gender.
Cook Benny came back. He said, at this point, they should just make a trans league. Dude, I think that would solve everything, you know? Just have them compete on equal ground. And you know what? Even in the trans league, you can have transgender men and transgender women, you know? You can have them separated within that, or you can just have them all lumped together. It doesn't matter, man. I mean, if that's what it is, that's what you can totally do. I think that would solve everything, you know? Sure. I mean, I don't know how well funded it would be. I'm sure, you know, they would have to probably fund themselves, but yeah, I mean, I think that would be the equitable solution here. But as of it is right now, no. I mean, transgender biological men have a complete advantage over biological women. That's just what it is.
After they have transitioned, there's no good long-term studies done about these effects on how hormones affect the body as it transitions.
So why is it, though, that you think originally we separate sports between males and females biologically? Why do we do that?
Honestly, it's just a societal thing. For me, it's...
You don't think it's a biological reality that men are stronger and faster?
No, I think sports traditionally have been male-dominated, but I think once women started getting, you know, more vocal and more like standing up for themselves and wanting an equal opportunity to compete, they were afforded a platform to compete within their own gender on the same platform with similar rules.
But why?
Why?
Because of biology, right?
Yeah, biology. Because again, the standard norm, how I understand from society, is that women are naturally weaker than men, and you know, for a woman to compete against a male would be unfair, could cause undue harm to individuals of that gender or other people, and is quote
but why
safety.
Is that different than when the male is someone who identifies as transgender?
Again, this goes back to
good point, man. Great point. I mean, at this point, biological men who present themselves as men should just identify as females so they can just go ahead and compete against women, you know, with this logic that this person has, like completely, like you don't even have to be like within the whole transition. You can just be like, I just feel like a woman. So I feel like I want to do the long jump against all these ladies. It's just like, it's bonkers, man. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense, man. Not at all. Okay, so let's see. Airspray World says, why does Coke Benny have a shield? Oh, well, Coke Benny, he's part of the Hustlers. Okay, Coke Benny's he's an OG original. Okay, he's been with the group for a long time, and yeah, I made him a mod long time. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're part of this community of ours and stuff, you know, me and Coke Benny, we go back like throwbacks. So yeah, he's been there. He's been a long time supporter. So, and you know, anybody that you see will come into the stream, whatever, with that shield, you know, they've been riding with us for a while. So this is the community we're building over here. So let's see. Cook Benny came back. He says, women want a sport league, but they don't want to compete in it. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So if we had co-ed sports, I don't know how well that works, you know, like I've never seen a co-ed sport in terms of like, you know, in play and how people perform and stuff. But in terms of like safety and stuff, I understand why they separate the genders and stuff, you know. It just, I don't know, to me, it makes sense to do it that way than to risk, you know, hurting people, you know, or worse, you know, someone completely, I don't know, just training their whole life and then they have one game against a man and it's just like it's over with, you know. It's like, I don't know, it could be worse than losing the game. It could be, you know, losing their life too. You know, like I guess like if they were to do like wrestling or something, or MMA, you know, UFC, like men against women. I don't know, man. I don't think they should. That'd be crazy to watch that. I mean, but I'm sure this is the person on the right, Serena, Munroe. I'm sure that they would have no issue with that. They're like, yeah, bring it on.
The medical study where we don't know the long-term effects of how how like estrogen and other hormones affect the body long term.
So do you
Now-
wait? So sorry, just to clarify,
Right.
do you believe that there's some medical gatekeeping or threshold that a trans athlete should be forced to meet? Like you have to be on hormone therapy for X number of
you
years.
have to be on hormone therapy, and
Well,
if-
that's not the policy everywhere, so that's an important distinction to make.
It is. But for me, if we're trying to do like an equitable type of atmosphere, you have to do kind of a balance of performance, if you will, similar to how they do in some sort of racing circles.
Okay, I want to bring in Blaire here. Give us your thoughts and reaction.
Yeah, tap me in. So from my perspective, which I actually am fairly comfortable just saying is the truth, because there actually is a lot of studies and there is like, the history of mankind as well. It's not because of society or social norms that men and women are separated in sports. It is purely because of biology. And that's why other sports are not segregated that don't involve necessarily physicality, why you can play like chess between genders and things like that. There are also long-term studies about the effects of hormones on adult bodies. There's not as many studies as I would like. Trans is something that is very understudied because of how politicized it has been. But however, we do know that certain things are permanent and certain things are not. Certain things reduce a little bit, but never to the point of actually creating an equal playing field. So like height is permanent from male puberty. Skeletal structure is permanent from male puberty. The cardiovascular architecture is permanent from male puberty.
That male jawline is going to be permanent unless you want to like do some type of facial reconstruction to kind of shave that down, whatever. But you're always going to have that jawline, that looks like a man, and it's crazy. It's like day and night here. I guess there are different levels to transitioning and stuff. I just think that it's just, I don't know. I don't know about this whole, like, I understand like body dysmorphia is a thing and stuff, and, people feeling like they're trapped in the wrong body and stuff. And then even after, I've even heard where people have done the whole transition and stuff, and then they still weren't happy, so then they end up offing themselves, whatever, because they just could not deal or they could not cope with it. And, it sucks. It sucks to have that type of mental strain, to have to deal with. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, I would never, I guess I can't understand it because I just don't, I never felt that way, but I guess people that have felt that way, they're going to have this view that, yeah, it should be, you should have equality in terms of like wanting to compete and stuff, but you got to kind of deal with the facts as is, it's like you got to kind of put your feelings aside and just kind of understand that this is the reality, that bone structure doesn't change, your endurance and stuff doesn't change. If you're taking any type of estrogen and stuff to change, your molecular biology or whatever and stuff like that, it's not going to do a full change from male to female. You're still going to have some of those traits as a man, and it's going to give you a slight edge over a biological woman.
Things like muscle mass can decrease a little bit, but it's never to an equal playing field. So boys and girls, when they're growing up before puberty, there's like a rough evenness with the way that they can compete. And that's why there is, sports leagues when you're young that are not necessarily always segregated by gender. But by the time puberty hits, a 10 to 50% increase.
Coach Benny came back. He says, is body dysmorphia when you think you're fat when you're actually not? I mean, I think body dysmorphia is, it could extend to that. I do believe, but I think it's also, it's kind of like one of those umbrella terms where like you could feel like, yeah, that you're fat when you're actually not, whatever, or that you're never, you could feel like you're a woman trapped in a man's body or vice versa. And yeah, it's kind of a weird, like, I don't feel like myself. Like, I feel like I should be something else. So people, they take it upon themselves to try to match the outside to match the inside. And it never works out.
In the capabilities of the male students, minors, actually occurs. So for some people it'll be that 10% and some people it'll be the 50%, but you can never, it is such an individual thing. And like I said, the reductions in things like muscle mass and other things is just not great enough to actually make it fair. So I think this is sort of a debate that is like, the jury's not out. The jury is very much in. The jury is here. The jury is like, yes, men and women are physically different. And so I don't know why some people, especially Democrat politicians, I mean, I can see why some trans activists are still trying to hang on to, you know, an arm and a leg here and pretend like there's some sort of debate and like it's not over. But for these Democrat politicians, from what I can see, the main thing they need to do, one of the only things they need to do to actually win midterms and 28 is just come across as normal and just come to where most people are on issues like this. And they seem dedicated to not. So I don't really know what's going on with that, but I just feel like the debate is kind of over.
I mean, it is politically at this point, it's an 80-20 issue. So we could talk about the politics of it, but I'm actually interested in kind of the underlying debate, because there's a portion of the trans community, or particularly trans LGBT kind of activists, that are pretty firmly wedded to this idea and do not want to compromise on it. But Serena, I guess I want to understand where we're coming from on a base level here. So I'm just going to kind of try to understand your concept of these different things. Do you acknowledge that a trans woman is a biological male?
Yes and no. Yes, in that they were.
No, that is not a yes and no. That's a yes or a no, not a yes and no, because I think that's the gray area that we're talking about. Like, there are certain facts that humans cannot change their biological sex. I believe anybody can look it up and see. Like, it's only like fish, amphibians, and mollusks. Those are, you know, only creatures on planet Earth that can do that, and maybe some insects too. But that's about it. As far as humans, no, it's not. And I don't care how you feel. That's just facts.
Born a male. My own personal belief is that when you transition,
Personal belief?
you're changing your body's chemistry to be female. I identify as a female, even though I was born a male.
So you believe humans can change their biological sex?
Yeah, I do.
What is
This person hasn't. This person has done the research. You know, we're doing a lot of emotional soul searching here, and I think they just closed the book on trying to seek the truth here.
so
Yeah.
what is okay?
Well,
Blaire.
I guess the issue with that is, if I could just jump in, is that when it comes to things like personal beliefs, those are separate from, you know, a debate about the facts, right? Like, you could have the personal belief, and certainly if you want to invoke some sort of like metaphysical aspect or something, then maybe we have like a conversation going. But when it comes to physicality and what you really biologically are, you cannot change. You can feminize certain aspects, like no one's debating that, which is why you can acknowledge that even with trans athletes who are on hormones, there is somewhat of a changing of certain features. But I mean, it just is what it is. The definition of a trans woman is a biological male who then transitions. But that doesn't change anything about your biology. And if I could just ask a question, because I feel like I never get an answer. I've had so many debates with trans activists, like, what is it that, just to get your perspective, what is it that you guys are clinging on to so hard? Like, why is it difficult to acknowledge the biological state of your body? Because for me personally, I don't have any grievance with that. And I've never really understood people who cling to it.
Honestly, it just comes down to like the dissonance that I feel within myself.
There you go. Cognitive dissonance. Do we understand that no matter what the facts are, our feelings can override those facts and almost convince us that we're right no matter what? However we feel, our opinion is the right opinion, you know, to just completely ignore what is, you know, true in the world. You know, we're just going to go off of what we think and what we feel, and that's how we're going to, you know, move in the world and stuff. Yeah, that's a little bit of cognitive dissonance, whatever. And that just admitted it. Serena just admitted it just there.
through my own journey, coming out as trans and understanding this, from my own standpoint, is I just have a hard time accepting that my biology is male. And yes, that is physically true. And yes, medically, and I cannot change that. But, I do believe that the metaphysical aspect of this is that I am female.
But your biological sex is male. Would you
My biological
acknowledge
sex is
that?
male. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Well, I mean, at least Serena has admitted this now. So now you got to go back to the original argument. If you're a biological male, should you be able to compete with biological females, even though you said earlier that it's unfair because women are weaker to men when it comes to competing in sports?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that kind of
thing.
feels... Oh, sure, go ahead, Blaire.
That's the thing. So you see that, or you feel that the metaphysical version of yourself or your higher self or your soul is female. And like, honestly, everyone has their own spiritual beliefs. Like no one can take that away from you. But I guess when you try to impose that on now, like I would imagine you're the kind of person that, I don't know if you're Christian or Muslim, if you adhere to any actual religion, but you would probably...
I don't think you're Muslim. I don't think you're Muslim. Even if you were, you wouldn't be Muslim for too long.
would not want those religions imposing like laws based on those metaphysical beliefs that they have on you. So like I would hope and assume you wouldn't want something like Sharia law. And that's an example of them taking their spiritual beliefs, imposing it on your physical reality. And so I see it as the same. Maybe you have a spiritual belief that you are a woman in a different, realm. And I'm not taking that away from you. But you can't then say that we can compete in women's sports then, because there still is this biological state of being that we're actually all contending with and living in. You know what I mean?
Let me direct this as in the form of a question to Serena. I mean, I will always support your right to live your life, call yourself what you will, live your life how you please, do whatever you want with your body, hormones. I will always support that as an adult. But at the end of the day, if we agree on the premise that biological sex cannot literally be changed and is based on your genetics and the structure of your reproductive system, in changing your exterior or taking hormones doesn't literally change your sex, what is so wrong with simply saying that for sports, we have male and female and it's about biology, not identity? What is the problem with that, Serena?
It's hard to separate those two aspects for a lot of people. And for me, I find that very difficult. Like accepting yourself and then accepting what you go by every day and then having to come back and compete in an area with people you don't identify with. It takes a mental strain on you, and it hurts.
Wait, but just because you don't identify with them doesn't mean that you aren't them, though. It's who you I can't even talk now. It's who you are biologically matched with, like not matched with, but synced with. This is your group. Your group. This is who your biological group is. So, it's not about who you identify with. It's who I mean, it's biological.
And it hurts. It'll probably hurt you physically. So separating.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't perform well against like biological men. We can probably acknowledge that, but I mean, so it kind of would make sense why you would want to go up against women, because you would have an advantage. So I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of a loophole to get a gold medal. You're like, I would definitely not come in. I definitely would come in first if you're competing against a bunch of men. Probably wouldn't come in third or fourth or fifth. So why not? Exploit this loophole of identifying as a woman, and then you got a shot.
A trans woman, from what the sport she has trained and loved to do, is going to hurt them. And
hold on, I just found the actor that I was telling you about earlier that reminds me of this person. Give me 1 second. Alan Cover. Let me see if I can do a side by side. Can I do a side by side? Okay, let's go back. Yeah. Let's go here. Let me just put this right here on the screen, actually. And then this one. Oh shit. Yeah. Kind of close. Kind of. Hold on. Yeah, it's kind of close. It's very close, actually. I mean, they have pretty much the same type of facial structure. Yeah, just blue hair. That's the only difference here. I don't know. The first person I saw was that looks like the guy from Grandma's Boy, the Adam Sandler movie. But yeah, this is not funny though.
Hurt their ability to perform.
But you understand that when we're talking about policy and fairness for everybody, not just for trans people, that you do have to separate the emotion out of that, right? Like that's not a sound argument that it would hurt your feelings or cause distress.
That's part of the aspect that we have to remember about this. Like, we can set rules in place to
But even if we keep that in mind, like I can completely hold in one hand that it's something that is going to emotionally upset the trans athletes, but also say that logically that doesn't trump the actual policies that need to be in place.
Well, what about so why are we preferencing the feelings of a select few trans athletes over the feelings and safety and comfort of the masses of biological female athletes, Serena?
If anyone is like,
she sounds a little biased.
Let's take that into a
little biased here. Like you are taking up for a smaller number of the trans community in order to give you guys the edge in this whole competing in female sports and stuff, when you are putting the other players at risk for getting hurt, for going up against you, when you have the strength of a male and all this other stuff. It doesn't seem fair.
Respect, because I believe there was a case where there was in San Francisco just the other day where there was an issue of a trans woman changing in the women's room there, and they had to address that. It's a tough policy, and this is where I'm, again, in a policy world, it's not going to be perfect from my perspective. But if we're worried about fairness, I mean, again, there are ways we can measure balance of performance to ensure that if there is a biological advantage or disadvantage, we can take care of that. Like,
how though? Like, you're talking about measuring the advantage or disadvantage. I'm trying to figure out how are you going to do that? Like, are we just? It's like I don't understand. I don't really follow the logic. In order to just make it fair, it's just like only have a trans league. It's going to take some time to get funding and stuff. Like, just do a trans league. I just don't. I don't think it's fair in any other realm to try to finagle the attributes, or whatever. It doesn't make sense.
And so I'm not sure that you really can, because when you look at studies of athletes transgender athletes that go through hormone therapy, I mean, there still is a difference after that. But even if you could actually, Serena, I think the question is a little more fundamental than that. It's like the sports aren't for them, right? The spots, the medals, the positions are not for any kind of person that's born biologically male, transgender or not. They're for biological females. So even if you could eliminate any advantage, I mean, why should they be entitled to compete in a sports division that's not for them? Because sports is inherently competitive. So you're taking a spot potentially from someone else. You're taking an award from someone else. You're taking something from someone else. Everything is a give or take, especially at higher levels.
Yeah, and that's just sports in general. I mean, if you're going to compete in sports, you have to, if you're not first, you're last. You're training, you're competing, you're going for that number one spot no matter what.
Quoting Will Ferrell, man, from Talladega Nights, man, that's a good argument to have. But no, I mean, if you look at it just from the biological standpoint, it's just, there's no other way around this. We can have this whole thought process. Like, well, let's try to be fair to everybody and stuff. I was like, but it's not fair. It's inherently not fair the way the whole thing is set up, because if you're like, no, biological men cannot compete in women's sports, so that has to be the whole thing. You can't be, well, what about if they're transitioning and it still doesn't change anything?
I used to race go-karts as a child, and I would always train to be number one. So
go-karts? Okay, I mean, I guess if you were to say like NASCAR could be, is NASCAR co-op, whatever? Are there men and women competing in NASCAR? I don't know. I don't watch NASCAR, but that's not you pushing yourself. I mean, anybody can put the foot on the pedal, but I think it's you're a little bit equal footing in a car than if you're actually running on your feet. So I don't know. I have to look that up because I'm kind of dumb. I don't know. Let's check. Is NASCAR? I might be completely wrong about that. Is NASCAR co-op? Co-ed? That's the one I need to ask. Not co-op, co-ed. NASCAR is not a co-ed sport in the sense of mixed gender competition, but it does have diversity and inclusion initiatives that welcome women and people of color in driver, crew, and leadership roles. Okay. Competitive field in terms of racing, NASCAR's top 3 series, the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series, are male-dominated. The sport is historically been white, male-only environment with a few female drivers competing at the national level. While there are a few notable exceptions like Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, and recent D4D graduate Daniel Suarez, the majority of drivers are men. Interesting. Okay, well, there you go. There's your answer. Good to know.
Understand that aspect, but understanding where this discussion came from, we're fundamentally talking about 2 people that tied for 5th place in a NCAA swim meet.
That's just one example.
That's just one example. Yeah.
You're talking about Riley Gaines.
Yeah, I'm talking about Riley Gaines. Yeah,
but even then, that's actually a more powerful example than you think because she was literally not on the podium. Right.
They both of them weren't. And if it was a first place finish and they both tied, more power to both of them.
But actually, the bigger issue that Riley Gaines has talked about is that they were forced to change in the same locker room as Leah Thomas.
Right.
They were exposed to male genitalia.
Right.
Which that could psych you out, from traumatize you a little bit before your big swim meet, So yeah, I mean, like I said, if you were to have biological men that present themselves as men changing in the locker room with their female counterparts, would that be right? Would that psychologically mess with their head before the competition? I think so.
It's more implications than just the sport itself too. It's things like that. And I just don't understand why there's so many trans activists, and I am including you in this, who are clinging on to something that, first of all, you and I both know that trans is not something that started existing in 2016 once everyone wanted to start doing sports in the trans community. So why there wasn't this issue before, I've never really seen any trans activists try to unpack. Why were there not trans activists disrupting sports before? Why were there not issues like this coming up with trans women in women's locker rooms before? It's this new culture of entitlement that the activism and the politicization of this topic from the left has created that allows people to think that they can go into a space like a women's locker room. And I just feel like if you want to be a woman, you should have empathy for women. For me, that's one of the first, parts that, but that's one of the most beautiful things about womanhood and being a woman is the fact that they have more emotional intelligence and empathy for other human beings. And what I see is a lot of trans women who don't feel the need to give that back or to see that as a two-way street.
No, I agree with you there, Blaire. I see that all the time, and I try to course correct people I see that don't have empathy for other women or understand that we can't always get what we want. And
that's life for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's life. That's life for everyone.
So then do you think that trans women should be banned from women's sports then? Because there does have to be a decision at the end of the day. It's either we're going to allow it or we're not.
I honestly, I don't know.
After all of that, after all of that whole talking about it and stuff, and acknowledging that Serena is a biological male and there's nothing that they can do to change it. Doesn't matter how much makeup or how much women's clothing or whatever operations you get done, you can't change your biological sex. And they have acknowledged that, and they still think that it's okay for biological men to compete with women. It's crazy.
But
this
okay,
is
I mean, you're saying you agree with these things, but then at the end of the day, you support it. So then
I
why?
do.
For the sake of what then? Because if you agree that the biological advantage exists, then what is the argument for keeping it in place? Just the feelings of the trans activist or the trans athlete?
No, it's just how they identify. It's just how they are and how they want to live their life.
But
why is that more important?
But there's a social contract for everybody in this world. You can live your life how you want, but when it impedes on other people, that's where people have to draw the line. And that's for anything. That's not just trans. That's literally anything. If there was a 300-pound, woman who wanted to go compete on a team of like 13-year-old girls, there would be a line drawn. And just because the 300-pound woman wants to live her life that way doesn't mean that she should be allowed to. So why is it different rules and a different standard for trans people? Like, what is the universal principle here? Does everyone just get to do whatever they want because of their feelings, or does there have to be boundaries? Like, do you have a concept of like a universal principle for this? Something that applies to everybody, not just trans people.
Let's let Serena answer.
Yeah. So I would say,
take your time.
no, I mean, there is how would I want to explain this?
Yeah, they're getting tangled up in these Christmas lights, man. Like, the logic is just completely out the window here. Trying to hold a strong stance on this, man, is just not. You can't articulate it in a way that's convincing. It really is just this hill that you have to die on.
I mean, I do believe that women should compete. All women should be able to compete in sports that they wish they compete in. And yes, I do believe that there is some advantage, but I also believe that there is a way to better understand those advantages and still try to have a even playing field. That's where I'm coming from.
So I guess we have to get more fundamental here.
Yeah.
What is a woman?
Damn.
Well, if we go by Blaire's examples, you were born a female. You were born with those chromosomes that makes you a female. However, with that, there are also chromosomal disorders.
Right, but we're not talking about
That's
intersex. That's separate. Those are rare.
They always like to bring up the 1.001% of people that are born intersex, whatever, with both male and female sex organs, whatever. It's like, can we just talk about what we're talking about?
Definitions.
What's a woman?
What is a woman? Like, we need a working definition. You said all women should be able to compete in women's sports. How do we define who is a woman and who is not?
The answer is so easy, man. I don't understand how people can't figure this out. If you're born a biological woman, it is what it is, man. It's just like, you can't argue it. You can't. But it's just like, this is the cognitive dissonance that Serena was talking about earlier.
For
me,
it's my definition is that it's how you identify.
That's not a definition, though.
I know.
You understand that that's not a definition.
That's how I feel.
If we all live in this world where we all have our own separate definitions for everything, like, that's called civilizational collapse. Like, we can't even go on with everyone just making up their own definitions for everything. Especially for something so fundamental.
Where I'm coming from, like, so by your definition, right now, if I were to switch in my head and start identifying as a woman, then therefore I am one.
You're a little tall for that, Brad.
Yeah, this is it. This is like, everything's crumbling because it's like, it's kind of tough to say. It's really tough to say because, we are now dealing in the hypothetical realm. And I guess, Serena's entire life is hypothetical.
Looking at my notes, to me, how I define it A woman is someone whose internal self's lived experience of place aligns with womanhood.
What does
Whether
that mean?
What? So I don't. I would love to see the breakdown of like what the womanhood is to Serena Munroe, because I can see it's probably going to be all something superficial in terms of like everything. I don't know.
It's my lived-in experience that how I identify and how I go about my life.
Such as, like, get more specific.
I dress as a woman. I identify as a woman. I present myself as a woman. I use she, her pronouns. I live my life as if I were a naturally born woman.
Okay, Blaire, I'm not really hearing a definition
yeah.
there.
Well, I heard Serena's definition, but the thing about,
Yeah, I don't think Serena can define things in general terms. Serena can only define things in their terms.
concepts and words is that they have their own static definitions and meanings that no matter how we feel about them, like I can't just say like I think the color black actually looks something like it's yellow or something. Like that's not how it works. Like and you're free to have your own perspectives on your own life and experiences, but when we're having a debate and a talk about how things should run in the real world, don't you think that that would be like a bad idea to just have it go off of your own personal perspective?
I mean, that's how I operate. That's how I operate. And from my point and my discussion, how I frame it is.
But don't you think that's also kind of like an extreme narcissism that you just acknowledge that you think the world should run off of your perspective?
No, the world should not run off my perspective. The world should run off the perspective as the whole of the societal whole.
So then we shouldn't have trans women in women's sports.
That's what the majority think.
If that's what we're running with, then yeah. I think they should for my own personal definitions, but if we're going to go off the biological definition of a woman born.
Well, so that's even more confusing. You're like, okay, well, let's just go with what the majority thinks. I still think the opposite. I'm okay with the opposite of whatever everybody thinks, but we should just go with the majority. So I guess we don't really have a debate here then.
As a natural born female identified with those chromosomes and all those features, then yes. Then you're going to have the trans women, trans men compete in their own biological sports areas.
I guess
as they were born.
I want to play you guys a clip, and then we can discuss the question of what's so wrong about that exactly, because Tom Steyer, who is a prominent Democrat running for governor in California, was asked about this, and here's what he had to say. Let's listen.
You talked about trans people. I'm totally in favor of trans athletes in high school. I think when you understand the vulnerability, the stress, the danger of being a trans kid, and you understand that almost half of them try to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And then you think we're going to punish those kids. We're going to cut them off from team sports. We're going to cut them off from participating in the community. We're going to cut them off from fun. It's like, no, we're not. No, we're not. And, you know, as someone who played sports my whole life and loves sports and love playing sports, they're more important things than whether you start on your high school basketball team. And that is standing up for people who are under threat of death.
So there's a lot to unpack there. To me, it seems like I think
you know, biological men, you know, like male athletes, whatever, that present as men and stuff, if they have stress in their life and they feel like they want to take their own life and everything, that's something completely outside of the whole thing of sports, you know. And just because a trans person deals with this, whatever, this type of like thought process, because they don't, you know, they're still trying to identify with who they are and stuff like that, and they feel this social pressure, whatever, to present one way, or, you know, whatever way they feel is presenting is wrong or something. So yeah, they just feel like they want to just end it all and stuff like that. That's not kind of a license to kind of let you in to play sports, whatever, like that, because we think that, you know, you've had a hard life, so we're gonna go. No, it's not, like, that's completely, that doesn't make any sense. In my opinion, no, that doesn't make any sense at all.
very much downplaying the concerns of women and girls who have, scholarships on the line. And actually, it means a lot to young women. It meant a lot to me as a young man competing in sports. It's not just, get over it. You're not going to start anymore. Too bad. So sad. And then obviously, that's not a real statistic that he cited. It's not true that 50% of trans youth attempt to kill themselves. That's a completely false statistic. And even the underlying statistics he's misquoting are not even accurate. But regardless, I mean, this is where we get into the emotional blackmail territory of this issue. Obviously, I don't want any trans young person or young person who identifies as trans to ever harm themselves. But it's like, to me, Serena, this feels like emotional blackmail. Like, you have to let something happen that's manifestly unfair to others, or this person may harm themselves. One, there's like no evidence that allowing trans athletes to compete in sports reduces suicide or anything like that. That's not a thing. But even if there was, it's like, could I tell you, like, let me play in Little League or I'm going to kill myself? Is that not? And then if you don't let me play in Little League,
that's very extreme. I mean, that's a very extreme example. And this is where I have a problem with the Democrats' message and what they're trying to accomplish. Because, you're right. It's not going.
It's crazy to me that Democrat even identifies with the plight of the trans community and stuff, being a biological male that's played sports his whole life and stuff. And he wants them to be able to compete too because they've had a hard life. It's just that's not a good enough excuse.
Not going to save. Trans kids aren't magically going to stop hurting themselves or harming themselves because they get to be able to play the sport they want to play. There's larger, deeper issues there that need to be addressed. And I mean, honestly, I agree. It does feel like emotional blackmail, and it just makes me uncomfortable and you can call me a hypocrite for this, or see, kind of like my two sides here is that I don't like it when people play the emotions in a political state like that. You're drawing on the emotional heartstrings to make those people attached to you, to come to you and have you think that they understand your plight, your drama, and that they can magically solve your problems, when honestly, I don't feel that any of them have ever had my back or will have my back.
Okay, Blaire, your thoughts.
I'm glad you realize that, because Democrat politicians don't give a crap about any minority they purport to care about. So that's good, especially trans people. And the fact that he can so flippantly, refer to like half of, this demographic, minor version of demographic, themselves is so gross. But do you see any parallel between the way he was making arguments there and the way you did earlier in this video?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I do see it, and I do understand that now. Like, I do see, I was pulling from that, and it's not a great policy measure. And running off feelings is not how you make policy. It's how equitable and how you can still have that fairness, but still.
Serena, I'm kind of glad you're agreeing with us, but you were just yesterday literally retweeting praise of Tom Steyer for this statement.
I mean, at the time I retweeted it. It's one of those, well, it's nice that you finally see it.
I'm glad he called her out on that.
But at the same time, thinking about it and, reflecting on it and seeing it and understanding it more, and just coming back to reality, it's like, well, it's one of those things that long term, okay, you say this, but what will you do long term for trans people and athletes and trans athletes?
Well,
give them their own league, man. It's so simple. Have them compete against each other. That's it. I mean, that's all you got to do. XO Charles, welcome to the stream, sir. Good to see you, man. Yeah, we're having a chill stream tonight. I got a couple topics here, man. But yeah, this video came across my feed, man. I just thought it was an interesting conversation. But I mean, we're kind of seeing the back and forth in terms of Serena Munroe's thought process and stuff. It started off very emotionally driven in terms of the argumentation and the stances and stuff, and now that we have, I guess, a Democratic advocate saying like, hey, we should let trans people compete in women's sports because they've had hard lives, man. They like 50% of them want to off themselves and everything. And it was a completely like wrong way to address the whole situation. And I think it's kind of put everything a little bit in perspective that, yeah, this person definitely doesn't have like their interests at heart, you know, like, or even the female athletes' interests at heart, you know, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot of danger, you know, that could propose towards women biological women in sports competing against biological men.
You are also retweeting posts that were mocking J.K. Rowling for the idea of defining a woman by biological female traits. But we've kind of, I mean, do you stand by that?
Yeah, that I stand by. Like again, this is my duality here. I do not like anything like, yeah.
I don't like anything, man. That's it.
I do not like what J.K. Rowling has to say, honestly.
Okay, well, let me pull up that post that J.K. Rowling actually said. Being biologically female means having a body that is observably organized to produce large gametes, eggs, as opposed to a body organized to produce small gametes, sperm. A woman is female whether or not her eggs have been fertilized or not. A man can never be female. And that was in response to a post that said, your daily reminder that trans women are biological women. The term biological woman is made up by anti-science folk who want to other trans women. If you think that being female is strictly about the ability to get pregnant, you will invalidate cis women as well as many who aren't able to do so. So that was the original post that JK had responded to. Then you called her clinically stupid for that statement. What do you think? You stand by the idea that it's clinically stupid to define female by reproductive orientation and biology?
I mean, I don't deny biological sex exists or that reproductive biology is real. Humans are, you know, that's just how human biology is. It's legitimate biological framework. I mean, where I disagree is that the idea
it's crazy that you can just say that, which is factual, you know, that men and women are sorted into these biological categories, whatever, and there's no arguing it. You know, there's no 2 cents about it and stuff. But then when it comes to everything else that's going to come after, we're about to see. It's like now we're getting into emotional territory.
Gametes alone settle that debate itself.
Well, I don't think J.K. Rowling thinks it's only that. And I think from what it sounds like earlier, you were saying that you don't deny biological sex exists, but you think you can actually change it.
I do. I mean, I think that again, this is what I think and how I believe it is that, yeah, you can, through the hormones and through, medical transitioning, that I feel that I am a biological woman. I am biological.
Well, there you go. I feel. That's it. I feel. Therefore, I am. No, it's not. It's not true, man. It's just like now it's like, what do they always say? Facts don't care about your fucking feelings, man. It's like, there it is.
A female, even though I don't produce those gametes.
But you're not, though. You were born biologically male.
I was born biologically male, yeah.
And your genetics are male.
I believe that's not my case.
You believe that you're not genetically male because
no,
of hormones.
Sorry. I believe I was born genetically male.
But are you,
yes.
you acknowledge you are still genetically male?
Reluctantly, yes, but I believe that I am.
See, that's it, man. Just stop talking. It's like you already answered the question. Now you're just talking. You're just blabbing at the mouth now.
This is the issue. This feels way more like an emotional problem. This seems more like an emotional problem, and I'm not trying to be mean because
no, and I'm trying.
You seem like a nice enough person. You really do, and so there's some debates where I could come on here and really like kind of be mean. I don't want to do that here. I feel like this stems from something maybe a little bit deeper just with you. I'm not a therapist, but if I could kind of LARP as one for just a second, I think you have maybe an issue with integrating aspects of yourself and looking at yourself as a whole person. For me, I don't have an issue integrating the fact that I'm male into my view of myself and who I am as a person. My childhood, where I come from, and what I still am is a part of my journey, just like all of it is. And what's to come is a part of my journey. And I feel like when you sort of deny parts of who you are, whether it's your biological sex, whether it's things you may have done in your past, whether it's whatever, you can't deny reality because
There it is. That's it. You can't deny reality. No, and this whole like, oh, my truth and my perspective and all that stuff. It's like you can't fight what is. You just have to kind of accept it and move on. But there are people that are going to be clinging to this idea that no, I feel different. I feel like that. I mean, the thing is, it's like you just might be. I mean, we haven't even gone into what Serena's Munroe's like preference is, like in terms of like if they're attracted to men, women, or other trans, not that we need to go into that, but it's like you could just be a gay man. You could just be that, and that would have settled the whole thing. Or if you're only attracted to females, you could just been a man and just could have lived your life that way, But or you could just, if you're, it's just I don't know, man. There's just too much stuff that's like that's missing here. But it's like there's also a lot of self figuring out that Serena probably still needs to keep doing. And, Serena being able to live in this delusional state does, I mean, where a lot of women kind of live in delusion as well. But this is on a whole different level.
You end up living in a way that doesn't make sense. I mean, you yourself acknowledge that you have a cognitive dissonance on this issue. And if we have a cognitive dissonance, it means we're not seeing things clearly, which definitely means we can't go and argue for things clearly and coherently. It definitely means we can't go out there and suggest policy positions if you yourself admit you have a cognitive dissonance on how you see this issue. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback.
So I guess the final kind of subtopic on this issue before, and maybe we won't solve all the big picture debates today, but is that it just feels to...
Coca came back. He says, this reminds me of the episode of F&F when Fresh was attacking Sneeko, saying he messed up, but even Myron sided against him and he had him cornered, but Fresh just wouldn't stop talking. No, I mean, that was a very... I think we all lost a little bit of brain cells on that debate because, again... Fresh was playing 4D fucking Uno with Sneeko and wasn't making much sense. And at the same time, he was saying he was trolling. So it's like, how serious was he at that whole debate? Was he just trying to make content, or was he really serious and standing on what he believed? I think it was a little bit of nothing. Honestly, I think he's not a debater, and he's not even a thinker. Honestly, he's just a person that right place, right time. That's it.
Me, as somebody who does, respect and support autonomy and freedom for trans individuals, particularly adults, that is very much not the motion or direction that things are going in at the moment, right? There's this very widespread backlash to trans people, activism, whatever you want, however you want to identify it or describe it. And to the extent that backlash is kind of affecting just, adult trans people who want to live their lives, I don't support that or like that. But it does seem to me, and it's somewhat inevitable, that when you cling to the 20 side of the 80-20 issues, like the trans sports issue, that you're going to have that kind of backlash. So why is it that all the groups and even activists and even folks like yourself, Serena, can't just like give that ground up?
Fear of erasure, I would say, from how I view it. Like, I don't fear of being erased and not being able to do what
Air's Play World is going to bed. Well, have a good night. Thank you again for joining the stream.
What you like and exist. I mean, it's one of those things where you spend your entire life in fear of what you are and who you are. And when you finally be able to accept it and, live your life and do what you like, it's one of those things that you want to cling to every aspect of it. And it's
But
for me, it's difficult. And as Blaire pointed out, for me, I do have a lot of dissonance with it. And some people can do it better than others.
I just have to point out, and this is to be constructive.
Mhm.
You said that you lived your life in fear, and what was the other word you used in regards to how you saw yourself? Fear and denial of yourself?
Fear and denial.
Okay. And then you said, but then you accept it and do what you want to do.
It's like the stages of grief, man. We've gotten all the way from fear, denial. Now we're on to acceptance.
I don't feel like from this conversation and things that you've said that have been very illuminating about who you are and how you feel, I don't think you did cross that threshold of accepting yourself, because you still say that you have such a hard time acknowledging something as basic as your biological sex.
I
That doesn't
still have
sound
a
like
hard
an
time.
acceptance to me. That sounds like a refusal to integrate that part of yourself.
It's one of those things that I'm still working on. I'm going to continue to work on to be able to accept that.
So can someone really have like a strong opinion online if they're still trying to work things out in terms of how they feel about things? It's like, I only take a stance on things if I know what I feel, know what I know about things in terms of, doing my own research and, being able to speak confidently about things. But when it comes to this whole, like, trans debate on whether trans people should compete in female sports, it's a clear answer. It's like, no, they should not be able to compete in female sports. If they want to compete against other trans athletes, absolutely. If they want to have their own trans league, I would be all for that. I'm not saying I would watch it, but I'm just saying if that would propose a solution, I would be for it. I would just, if you want to put it to a vote, I'd totally vote for it. But I just don't think it's fair for trans women to compete with biological women. It's just not fair.
I guess
And that's honest.
that's
I
fair.
can
That's
appreciate
fair.
that.
But I guess what
Yeah.
I would suggest is that I actually understand your fear of not being able to live your life and not being able to, if, presenting yourself in many ways as a woman is what will make you happiest in life. I support that for you. And obviously we have this backlash of like people who would genuinely try to make that illegal or institutionalize you or something like that. And I don't support that, obviously. But I do think that the clinging to the most radical positions on this debate is the most likely thing that will lead to erasure, right? Like will lead to public backlash. Because if you tell people that the two options are totally rejecting trans people or accepting biological males in women's sports, biologically male sex offenders in women's prisons, they're going to pick the totally rejecting trans people. Most people
Trans
are.
kids.
We live in a democratic society where we do have some degree of majority rules. So it's like, if your alternative was let trans people live, accommodate the trans community in certain ways, and we will respect your boundaries and acknowledge biological reality in the instances where it is important. I mean, that I think could be a winning message. I don't think this can be a winning message, Serena.
You're probably right, and I'm probably wrong. I mean, this is one of those things where we're holding on to something so hard, so ardently, that it's gonna hurt more in the long run than in the short run.
Okay.
Well, then do you think you could see yourself going forward being a proponent in the opposite direction and actually telling other trans people and other trans activists, hey, we got this wrong. Trans women should not be in women's sports. Kids should not be transitioning. I guess we haven't even talked about that.
If the message is important, how we deliver that message would be important. And making sure that we ensure their psychological safety with that, saying, hey, sorry, this is how it has to be. We're doing this to protect the sport itself, but this is just one aspect of everything else. You still have everything for you. I mean, again, it's all about the messaging.
Well,
But it's also not.
that's an interest. I mean, there's there's
No, it's not about the messaging. I think it should just be about the policy. It's like women compete with women and men compete with men, and that's it. It's whatever category you fall into. There's no like, oh, I feel this way or whatever like that. No, I mean, it's not about, I don't think any type of messaging or whatever, however it's delivered or whatever would really change much. It should just be policy, which we already have in place. So being able to acknowledge that policy and, I think that's the first step.
propaganda and there's messaging and there's the way that you say things. But I find that people on the left are always so much more focused on that, and they're focused on the way that you say things rather than like, okay, so you're sitting here saying you're kind of understanding you were wrong maybe on the trans athlete thing. So would that actually lead you to switch your position publicly and advocate against trans women being involved in women's sports, or at least leaving the debate altogether and stop, pushing for them to be in the sports? Because it really is those two kind of options. You either support it or you don't.
And I don't think Serena has it in them to really take a strong stance on anything, because I think they're still trying to figure things out. Coke Benny came back. He says, I'm not saying I'll do this, but if I'm transitioning to a female, I'd at least try and look the part. Most trans women look like basement dwellers in a wig. God damn. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I live in Atlanta, so I've seen many trans people, walking around here. And yeah, there are levels to this, you got people that they still got the 5 o'clock shadow, but they got the stilettos, they got the dress, but they got the broad shoulders, and they got the Adam's apple, and they got the big man hands. It's tough. It's like not every, I mean, the whole thing about, skeletal structure doesn't change or whatever. It's like, yeah, you'd have to really you'd have to change everything, and not just the hoo-ha, lobbing it off and, redoing it and stuff like that. It's kind of wild, dude. Who is this? AJ, welcome to the stream. I just watched The Summer I Turned Pretty. I have not heard of that. Is that a trans journey movie? Sounds like it. Summer I Turned Pretty. Welcome to the stream. I might have to, I guess, do some research on that, see what that's all about. But, I get it, man. We all have we all have this journey of acceptance, who we are. Once we finally accept who we are, I think that's how we can finally, move forward in our lives and, take control of our lives. Once we know who we are, it does make sense, to, take the time to be by yourself, but not, live in delusion, but take the time to do some soul searching. And then, once you've done that, start taking some strong stances on stuff, Okay. So Cheetos, says, I agree with Coke Benny. I mean, it's, like I said, man, there's levels to this. There are some women out there that, they got the money, to look at it, to look the part and stuff, or they have really good doctors. But honestly, I still don't think, even with regular people that are doing the whole, facelift and stuff like that, I still don't think we perfected the facelift. You still got people that are 50 plus, looking like straight up lizards, and moving into their 60s or whatever, and they get that little shiny era, and it just doesn't look natural, man. I need people that are 50, 60 to stop getting facial reconstruction and plastic surgery. I don't think we've made it yet in terms of everything looking good. I don't think so. AJ came back, says it's a TV series. Okay, The Summer I Turned Pretty is a TV series. Okay, well I'll look into it, because that's it's like, this isn't something that really kind of is in my wheelhouse of like stuff that I really care about. I just found it literally, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was something that, I can't believe we're still having this conversation, which is something that's just so clearly apparent, like it's just not fair. It's not fair to biological women to compete with biological men. It just isn't fair. There's no contest. So, and even being a trans woman, I don't think that's a gray area, whatever, that we need to consider. I just think that, it's just the left has gotten so vocal about equality and stuff, but not considering the danger that could, involve biological women. I just think that they're not taking that into consideration.
Yeah, I would support it. I would support.
Okay, so AJ said it's Amazon original series. Okay, I do have Amazon Prime, so I'll definitely check that out.
Saying
Thank you for letting me know about that.
trans women should be in the biological side of the sport. They should be in
Wait, in
What do
women
you
or
mean?
men's?
men's
Okay.
side. Yeah.
Well, hallelujah. There's a point. Now, I got to be
Wow.
honest, Serena.
I didn't think that. Okay, I didn't think that we were going to have a breakthrough. Okay, so that was kind of what I said earlier. Besides Trans League, Trans League was the number one, proposed answer, but having trans women compete with biological men, that would be the secondary solution that I would do. Like if they can't do the Trans League, if like we're not doing a Trans League, yeah, have biological men work with compete against biological men. That makes sense. Cook Manny came back. He says, I don't have the money either, but I'd at least lose the weight and clean up. Yes, makeup, maybe buy some women clothes at Goodwill. Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I think more like a woman than trans women. You got to build up to the Gucci and the Prada and all that other stuff. Just start small. Go to Goodwill and just get the basics. No, but I mean, I honestly, it's like when it comes to, like the changing of the body and stuff, I think it's just really tough. It's really tough. Look at, what's it called? Elliot Page. Elliot Page, before was, Ellen Page or whatever. I see pictures of Elliot Page now, and it's just like, this looks tired all the time in the face, like really just like weathered, in the face. And Elliot Page has only been a man for maybe a couple years, and it's just wearing, like, whereas, when Elliot Page was Ellen Page, yeah, I mean, life was easy. Life was easy. I mean, maybe not, from the outside looking in, maybe it appeared easy, but yeah, it was like, I don't know. There were a lot of roles and everything, but I don't know. Maybe the whole, I don't know. I don't know. It might have been a bad example, but I think, I know everybody's seen the meme of like Ellen Page, as a female, whatever, just smiling, happy with the cameras in her face, and then like Elliot Page on the red carpet, completely haggard, and just like it says like 1 year as a man. It's tough, it's tough out here, and it's not for everybody. But the ones that are brave enough to make that transition, you'll see, it's not easy, AJ came back and says, what does it say? Or what about Disney Raven's Home, Descendants 3, or Electric Bloom? I haven't seen any of that. I don't really watch a lot of Disney, to be completely honest with you. I don't feel like it's part of my demographic, man. I mean, technically I watch like Marvel movies, but I haven't even watched the most recent Marvel movies, man. I'm just like, I don't really, I'm just not that interested in it, I guess. But yeah, definitely not Raven's Home. I've never even heard of Raven's Home. I haven't even heard of Descendants 3. There's already a third one. I haven't even seen the first or the second one. Electric Bloom, never heard of that one either. Coke Benny came back and says, they want the title woman, but they don't want to put the effort to be one. No, I mean, that's the thing, man. It's like what you feel inside should, I get it. It's going to be skewed from what you appear. I think we all kind of look at ourselves in the mirror and, we see something, but then there's this thing called the true mirror. I don't know if you guys heard about it, where, every mirror that we look into is a flipped image of ourselves. And that's how we've always viewed ourselves. But then there's this thing called the true mirror that doesn't do that. It doesn't flip it. It actually, if you look into this mirror, it basically shows you the unflipped image of yourself. So you are finally looking at yourself the way people look at you. And it's supposed to be kind of like an emotional experience. You guys can look it up. It's called the True Mirror. I think it's called the True Mirror. But yeah, something that I came across with. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But I think Serena Munroe should get a True Mirror just to kind of see, what people really think about her in terms of like, this whole image. I mean, honestly, it just looks like this is very low effort in terms of, just the dyeing of the hair blue, which is like an immediate, like, okay, you're part of this whole community. We get it, and then just men wearing women's clothing. Yeah, it just looks like we're playing dress up right now.
I fear you may exit this conversation and get back into the blue sky Twitter kind of trans rights activist echo chamber and maybe go back to your former position.
Here's the thing with my position.
Okay, so AG came back, so these are Disney Channel originals. Okay, so that's why I don't know. In terms of like anything recently from the Disney Channel, I have not seen anything, man. I couldn't tell you any of it. I'm just so out of the loop. I don't really have time to watch like television or streaming like television shows like that. I just don't, I'm always working, and if I'm not working, I'm sleeping, or spending time with the family outside, but my wife has plenty of time. She actually told me this the other day. She's like, I got nothing to watch on Netflix. I've watched everything on Netflix. I'm like, that's a first world problem.
And I'll make this abundantly clear. They do change, but if it makes sense from a holistic standpoint for the society as a whole, then that's where I land, and that's where I'll stay. And I'll gladly take the hate that I'm going to get for flipping on this issue from my community and my fellow trans men and women.
I think this is the first debate I've ever done where the person actually changed their mind. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Well,
we haven't talked about trans kids, though. I don't know how we feel about that, but...
Okay. I mean...
This is Brad's show. I'm not going to steer.
Yeah, Brad, this is your show. How do you want to do this?
I mean, is that something you stand on, Serena?
Oh boy.
Stand on?
Like, you are a hardcore believer that kids should transition, or no?
Oh, God, no. No. I think kids need to be kids.
Okay. All right.
Kids are always going to have a lot of questions, a lot of issues, and this is my stance on it, 100%.
Well, welcome to the Blaire White Army, Serena.
Wow.
Wait, you made a face.
You sound like me. What's going on?
I think kids should just... as a kid going...
So I guess the notion is that children aren't mature enough to make those decisions to transition. I mean, I totally agree. I think I don't think a child has the life experience to know what they want to be in terms of male or female. And I think parents that are like, in the children's corner, letting them decide, I think that's kind of bad parenting, in my opinion, at the end of the day.
Like my own dysphorias and issues, I wanted a therapist. In fact, I did a post on Twitter about this earlier. I wanted a therapist to talk about it. I didn't want to...
Cook Manny says, is Blaire also trans? Yes. Blaire is a biological man. And I believe, actually, I don't believe, I know this because Blaire said this. I think Blaire talked to Jesse Lee Peterson, I believe. Maybe it was Jesse Lee Peterson. But so I think Blaire said that men genitalia is still down there. Everything is still intact. So there you go.
Transition, I didn't know what it was. If kids have these issues, and parents, I understand, it's scary. It's a lot of unknowns, especially if you don't have any understanding of the trans community. find a specialist to talk to and have a better understanding and have your kid.
I'm not sure I trust those specialists, but all of that could be a conversation.
That's
for
a whole.
another day.
That's a whole other thing.
Yes.
But,
Well, I appreciate you guys coming together, having a conversation. I think we need more of that, including on these contentious and fraught issues. Thank you both so much.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to go that way. I didn't think that Serena Munroe was going to bend on the whole trans women athletes competing with males in female sports. And the final was that trans women should compete with other biological men. I mean, I don't know if they're still going to stick on that, stay 10 toes down on that, but that's, it seems like a debate where it actually happened with a breakthrough where the person actually changed their mind. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to follow up and see if they have reverted back to their old ways and maybe went back to Twitter, just completely saying, oh, that was just an act or whatever. So yeah. Coke Benny says, see, Blaire gets it. She actually had me fooled for a second. Well, Blaire actually has, she fooled a lot of guys actually for the longest time, but a lot of money went into Blaire's transitioning. In terms of like the support that Blaire got, and it's very widely known, and she's very openly about it that she acknowledges herself as a biological man, and everything downstairs is still intact. So there you go. I just thought this was interesting. Doesn't really, this is not going to be the entire stream about what this the whole topic was about. This is just one topic out of many topics that we're going to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is going to kind of bait Sonic from Sonic Mindscape. We had a conversation, a little bit of, Coke May came back and says, the voice gave her away. It's a little deep. It's got a little bit of bass in the voice, whatever. If you close your eyes and you just listen to the voice, you can definitely hear it. It does sound kind of like a male with like a maybe it sounds like a little bit of like a gay man, a little bit. So, but yeah. So the next thing we're going to talk about, Mr. Valuetainment from what's his name, Patrick Bet David. He came out with a video. This is about, I think that's like 4 days ago, and he proposed that he should be able to give some advice to young men, Gen Z men specifically, basically, what they can do, I guess, in the dating market. Now, it's widely known that Patrick Bet David has been married for the better part of like 20 years. And a lot of people are saying, what does this guy know about modern dating? Now, I do believe me and Sonic, we had this debate, and, Sonic kind of viewed me kind of the same as Patrick Bet David, that, any advice that I have to say on, modern women and how to approach and stuff like that is kind of outdated, because I've been married for almost 10 years now. I mean, it's 9 years, but in November it will be 10 years. And, that the modern landscape of dating has changed. And, anything that I say about how to, speak to women and stuff like that is going to kind of lead men astray. I thought it was at the time I was just like, that's just kind of your perspective, man. Like, I still know how to talk to women, like I'm still around women. I'm not closed off to talking to women and stuff like that, but I'm also not like their best friends, and I don't have like women that are friends and stuff like that, because I think that, out of respect to my wife, of course, I just do not, I have the mindset that it just doesn't make sense for me to have female friends, because otherwise, it just kind of opens the door to attraction on either side. Let's just be honest. It's like, do I truly think that, men and women can be friends? If the female is ugly, yes. No, that sounds pretty bad, but if the female is ugly, we can totally be friends, and there's no threat to the relationship. But it's just like, unfortunately, that otherwise, I mean, I'm not talking about any coworker relationships and stuff like that, because that's literally a friendship that has formed through work. Like that's just something that you guys would only come together because of your work. On the outside world, you probably would never even speak to each other. So, but getting back to this, I wanted to just kind of like give my own thoughts on Patrick Bet-David's advice on to young men on what young men should do in order to make themselves more attractive to women out and dating and stuff. And I want to know, is this outdated, or is this completely right? Let's check it out together. I haven't seen this whole thing, so I kind of want to see it with you guys, and you guys let me know what you think.
So there's a massive epidemic going on with young men, Gen Z specifically. 60% of them under 30 are not even dating. By the way, 62% of them.
Now, Sonic, I know you're watching. You fall into that 60% of men that have chose to not date. Remember, we had that little conversation. You're like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna put up the gates, whatever, and just not date and stuff like that. He's like, maybe I might let somebody in, and I was just like, whoa, like pause, But no, I mean, you're part of this 60%. So I know you're watching. So Sonic, if you see this, I want you to chime in and tell me what you think about this. Okay. AJ came back and says, also, have you seen Netflix's Surviving Summer? Never Have Ever, Atypical, Outer Banks, Sex Education, and other Netflix series. Honestly, man, I haven't watched any Netflix, man. I couldn't tell you anything. The only thing I have seen, which I think I had maybe maybe an hour or so to like really dedicate to watching, was the roast of Kevin Hart. I don't know if you guys saw that. I recently watched it, and it was all right. Because me, I always got to stay up to date with all my roasts. I love that stuff. I'm always roasting people. That's my type of entertainment. That's the only thing I've seen so far is the roast of Kevin Hart. That's the only thing I've seen on Netflix.
Are not even wanting to date. Gen Z men. This is a high of 2019 when it was 51%. So even though they're getting older, the older they get, they're like, I'm not even interested in dating. Why not? Do you know what the average cost of a date is for Gen Z today? When they go out, $205. Who's expected to pay for it? Of course, men.
Well, we gotta pump the brakes now. When you say, because we Gen Z men are all about like, splitting the bill, going 50-50, or even having the woman pay, which is kind of completely backwards in my opinion. I think if you ask the girl out, I think you should pay. It should be like on you to want to pay. I think that's just kind of like maybe it's a little old school, whatever, but I think that's how things should be. But now today's Gen Z or whatever is just, they're going to say, I think it should be a 50-50 type thing unless it gets, unless you want to like do this whole thing, like, maybe we should just, see where it goes, low, what's it called? Not low effort, but low, what's the word? Low investment. That's what it is. Maybe just like a little coffee date or something like that, like we go to coffee, we do that 50-50. And then if it goes well, then I'll take you out to dinner where I'll take care of the whole thing. It's like, I think that's a little safe or whatever, but I don't know. I think there's some girls that can see through that whole coffee date thing. And they're like, no, I'm not going to waste my time with that. Coke Benny came back. He says, I never thought Kevin Hart was funny. Kevin Hart, he has this thing. Well, okay, in his earlier stand-up, it was a lot of self-deprecating type humor or whatever. Like, of course, he went in on the whole thing about him being like short and everything. And then I did watch this one where I think it was called Laugh at My Pain. It was either Laugh at My Pain or Seriously Funny, one of those stand-ups that he did. And he was talking about his dad. I guess telling him to take out the trash, whatever, as a child. And I guess there was this guy in the neighborhood or something that like beat up his dad and he was telling, I guess he told his dad as a kid, he told his dad, he's like, look, don't make me call so-and-so on you, whatever. And he's just like, you are something else. You are something else, man. Give me the trash. Give me the trash. He's like, because he threatened him for the guy to come and beat his ass, whatever. And it was just funny. That was the funny part to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't really watch Kevin Hart movies. I know they're out there, like Jumanji, Central Intelligence, any movie that he does with The Rock and stuff, where he's playing opposite The Rock and stuff. I don't, for some reason, I just skip over those movies, I never saw Soul Plane. I know he was on that. He did a movie with Will Ferrell called Get Hard, where he's trying to be, I guess Will Ferrell's going to jail, so he's trying, Kevin Hart is kind of like, coaching him and stuff to be tough or whatever. I did see 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he was in that, I think briefly, and I think that was, I think he had like, one or two lines and stuff. I've seen that. But yeah, I'm like, Kevin Hart, I don't know. To me, he's kind of corny, in my opinion. But the roast there were some standouts on the roast that were good. Tony Hinchcliffe was good on there. Cat Williams made a surprise appearance on that, and he killed. Cat Williams is always good. Who is, he's known for outwardly hating Kevin Hart. So to see him on the roast was diabolical, and everything he said, it didn't feel like he was making jokes, man. He was just talking like it really was. So yeah, Cat Williams was like the standout of that whole roast. He killed.
Millennials' average cost for dinner is $252. Gen Z is $205. The national average is $189. We need more Gen Z dating because we need more babies, especially with our birth rate dropping. I'm going to share with you, if you're watching this as a young man, same path, what can I do to succeed in a market, because I'm looking for girls. I'm going to give you certain tips that helped me when I was 23. Hopefully it'll help you out as well.
Okay. This is where, like, Sonic, if you're listening, I know you are. If you're listening, do you agree with any of this? Do you think that we can take any of this advice from Patrick Bet-David, who's been married, he said he's been, I don't know, how long has Patrick Bet-David been married? Let's just see. I don't know. I think this is very important, but I do know that Patrick Bet-David is 47 years old. He is married to a woman who is in her 40s. Okay? Mid 40s, I believe. Patrick Bet-David. Let's just see how long he's been married. He's been married for like, what? They've been together since 2009. So how many years is that? 2009? Calculator. I need a calculator. Does anybody know? Was it 2004 is 21? So 2000. Yeah, I'm not good at math. Never been good at math. 2026 minus, what was it? What did I just say? 2009. To all you mental math people, 17 years. So they've been married for 17 years. Is that too long to have any advice to Gen Z on what you should do in 2026? I don't know. Let's hear what he has to say. AJ came back and says, and also Netflix made young adult teen shows that are TV, G and TV PG, also TV 14 and TV MA since I was into that now. Okay. You seem to be a lot into Netflix. The thing is, man, I just don't have time, like if I do, I have maybe an hour. That's about it. And most times I'm just researching topics and stuff to talk about. Every once in a while something comes across on the Netflix menus, because my wife is always living on the Netflix menu. She'll leave it open. She'll go upstairs. And I'll come home and I'll see that TV still on with the Netflix menu still on, and I'll see something that, like I haven't seen in years. Oh, you know what? I was trying to think what movie. There was a movie that I saw that was, I guess, I don't know if it was recently added or whatever. The Fifth Element. I was like, oh, I haven't seen The Fifth Element in so many years, whatever. And my daughter had never seen Fifth Element. So I was like, let's start watching this. We only got like, I don't know, I don't know, maybe like an hour, maybe less than an hour into it when she was already passed out. But I was like, this is a fucking good movie, man. I forgot how it's kind of cheesy by today's standards, but yeah, it was a Fifth Element, man. Good fucking movie when I first saw it. It doesn't really hold up today, unfortunately.
So if you value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, specifically the 51% of you that consume the content on a weekly basis, but you still haven't subscribed. We're on our way to get to 10 million subscribers. We're less than 3 million subscribers away from getting there. It would mean a lot to us if you take a moment and smash that subscribe button. Having said that,
wow, 10 million? That's not bad, man. What did you say, 7 million? That's crazy, dude. I am, I think, 2 subscribers away from 800. So let's get there, man. If we can, that'd be great. I appreciate everybody that always comes out to the streams and hangs out and stuff. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, if you guys are rocking with this content, you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. I'm streaming every Saturday at 11:45, and we just talk about whatever's going on in the internet world, man. And yeah, I'd appreciate if you guys would take that time to click the subscribe button. Let's continue with this one.
let's get right into it. Okay, crisis by the numbers. We already know 60% of young men are not dating. 62% are not even trying to date, up from 51%, compared to just 34% for women. So women are like, no, I want to date. I want to go out there and meet people. Young men are like, no.
Of course you want to date. Women, okay, so women are opportunists, okay? I know this sounds really bad, but hear me out. Yeah, women don't have to do any type of investment, upfront investment in the very beginning, generally speaking, okay? I'm not talking about women dating women. I'm talking about women dating men. It's the men that have to do the upfront investment, that have to ask the girl out, plan everything out, spend all the money, and, hopefully things go well and there's a second date. I'm sure women will probably want to be approached by men and want to be swept off their feet and stuff like that. And then you have this, percentage of women that want to do all the approaching and stuff like that, according to Sonic. I don't see it in real life, but this is something that he claims. And I'm sure they would still like to have men kind of lead the whole interaction and, kind of be able to just kind of enjoy it. But I think some men now, they're just not really willing to I guess, deal with that pressure, or do that much effort. And they kind of want it a little bit more instant and stuff. And I guess that's where the dating apps come in.
No, I'm leaving the marketplace. I don't want to do this. Apps like Tinder are heavily skewed towards male users. 76% of Tinder users are men. So guess what?
Yeah, you know what the other percentage is? It's bots, man. Bots and, women that are just funneling men to their OnlyFans, man. I don't think, women are trying to find connections on Tinder. I think it's just the hookup culture, man. It's convenience. They just want to hook up.
It's like going to a nightclub and it's not ladies' night. You're going to a nightclub and everybody there is a bunch of men at a nightclub. Your options are you want to go to a place for women.
When he said that, the first thing I thought about was Myron talking about no women, get all the women. We want just the men. Oh man, the red pill way. That's something I thought about. I just thought it was really funny.
We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Studies suggest roughly 80% of men are rated as below average in attractiveness, leading many to feel inadequate or ignored. You know what's the interesting thing?
That's the whole 80-20 thing, whatever. Like 80% of men are invisible to women because of their stature, their looks, whatever. Maybe they look greasy or something, or it's just their outward appearance. Whereas like if someone is conventionally attractive, maybe naturally tall, maybe have like good facial symmetry and maybe a good sense of style and scent and stuff like that. Yeah, these people are gonna have a better opportunity with women and not come off as creepy.
Today I came back from speaking at the school and there's all these kids in this classroom and I go up on the board and I write these numbers down. I write 14 and I write 3. I said, can I ask you guys a question? Can anybody tell me what this 14-3 means? One girl's like, that's a date according to a European calendar, and they're going through all this other stuff. I said, let me tell you what this means. I walk into this classroom. There was 14 girls to 3 boys. And I sat there and I'm like, wait a minute, these are great ratios. One of the guys, that's a boy's my son. So I'm like, hey son, you got a lot of good options here, right? These are the types of ratios you want. So now if you're watching and saying, How do I put myself in a position to have more options? So when they say 80% of it's attractiveness, all this other stuff, look at some of the most beautiful women in the world. Are they all married to attractive men? Not necessarily. So what did these men have that these girls dated and chose to go with them? There's a reason for that. We're going to talk about that. So now
maybe it was money. Maybe it was opportunity, like, this guy, he's like 70, 80 years old, whatever, but he's got so much money, whatever. And that's the main reason why that 20-year-old is basically under his arm, other reasons could be, maybe they got a Big Johnson or something. I don't know. It's like, there's always got to be a reason. It can't be like he was just really funny, I think funny can only get you so far. I mean, I think appearances it does matter.
Biggest dating fears. Pervasive fear of being perceived as creepy or toxic. Oh my God, you're too much. This is too much. This is too pushy. So approach anxiety, a growing fear of being viewed as disrespectful, intrusive, or contributing to toxic masculinity has caused many young men to stop approaching women in real life, which, by the way, young men, if you're listening to this, you're creating this imagination. This doesn't exist. By the way, this has been around for a long time.
It doesn't exist. I mean, Sonic, I know you're listening. Sonic, this whole approach anxiety thing, this was kind of what I was talking about. I was like, look, you kind of have to not care, okay? You got to have to not be like scared to get rejected, because you're going to get rejected, and you can't let that rejection halt you from any future prospects. And that was what I was, mainly trying to get at by, that whole conversation we were having, was that no, getting rejected is just a part of life, as a man, it does get easier to talk to women when you take it off the table that if this doesn't go well, it's the end. It's not, there's too many options out there, whatever, to just hang it up like that. So I do think that approach anxiety is definitely at an all-time high when you first start out. But I think as you get older, you realize that none of that stuff really matters. A person's going to like you or they're not going to like you. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you as yourself. You just might not be their type. So I think it's really important to just kind of like go into every interaction with it might not be you, it just might be them, and if you can turn them around and maybe come around, whatever, to kind of see the kind of person you are and stuff, and maybe give you a chance and whatever, and it works out, great. But if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, man. I think it's like you got to kind of like take it and just kind of move on.
You know what the hardest thing is today? There was a video the other day with Charlize Theron, an actress that's been in a lot of different movies, Devil's Advocate, a lot of different movies. This is supposed to be one of the most beautiful women in the world. I think she was also in that movie with Golfin, Legends of Bagger Vance.
Whenever I think about Charlize Theron, I think about that movie Monster. Have you guys ever seen that? She was playing like a serial killer or something. Let's see, Monster. Monster. It was 2003 film. Over 20 years old. Oops. Not what? Monster movie? I want to type in monster movie, the film. Monster Charlize Theron. She had no makeup in this movie. Go to the image here. Yes. This one. She had the crazy eyes. Let's check this one out. Oops. Not, I didn't want to save the image. Hold on. Check this out here. Charlize Theron had the crazy eyes in this movie. No makeup, just the crazy face here. Okay. I don't know if she shaved her eyebrows or if she they look shaved here. But this is Charlize Theron, completely no makeup. Maybe she has makeup here to look completely without makeup, whatever. But yeah, she looked rough in this movie. But I think she's 50 years old, something around that area, whatever. So yeah, she's already past her prime, this is, I don't know. It's subjective, beauty is very subjective. So I will acknowledge that. She could still she could probably clean up very nicely, but still at the same time, to Gen Z men, yeah, she's going to be completely aged out in this is just facts, but yeah, is she attractive? Is she attractive? Of course, Is she I don't know. Is she somebody like that you're, I think most men would see her as, yeah, she is. Hold on. Let's go to like, so this is what she looks like all, oh, hold on. This is what she looks like all dolled up and stuff, you know? Like, yes, she cleans up nice, whatever. But I mean, dude, she's like 50 years old, man. Come on, let's be real. The wall comes for everybody. Father time takes your looks away, whatever. You know, Mother Nature gives you your looks, and Father Time takes it away, man. The wall comes for all of us. None of us are immune from time. But yeah, Charlize Theron. I don't know if this is I don't know if she's a good example. But let's continue to go with it. Let's see what he has to say.
With Matt Damon, if I'm not mistaken. Can you verify this? The girl's asking her, so how many men approach you? She says, you'd be amazed. Nobody. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's over. Sorry to say it, but at 50, you're gonna have to start buying your own drinks at the bar. You know, like it's just not gonna be as you know. Maybe you might run into like a 70-year-old that, you know, is like, yo, that's what I'm looking for. You're exactly what I'm looking for. Something that's 20 years younger than me. But you're not going to find a guy that's going to be like in his like mid 30s to like want to take you on. It's just like, it's not going to happen.
You're this beautiful. No one's approaching.
I mean, okay, hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. If you see like if a 20-year-old sees Charlize Theron and he like he's desperate, you know, because he doesn't have any like real problems. He's going to want, yeah, of course, he's probably for sex, and that's probably it. But as far as the relationship, 50 years old, man, it's like, that's it, man. You're donezo.
Approaching me. Why not? I don't know. They're scared. Guys are scared. So you really...
No, guys aren't scared, okay? Guys just know what they want, and 50-year-old women are just not, they're not it, man. They're not. And who was that other actress, the black actress that was in Independence Day with Will Smith? Vivica A. Fox, okay? She was also in Kill Bill. Vivica Fox, recently there was an article about her, how she is now 60 years old and she is ready to settle down and have a family. 60 years old, okay? She's ready to hang it up and she's ready to start a family. Sorry, but it's too late. I'm so sorry, but that's it. There's no more. 60 years old, too late. You stayed too long in the casino to you know, roll your dice and hopefully it came up 50 cent. 50 cent. Yeah, you guys had a thing back then, but I don't think it's nothing. I mean, that happened. That was only for like, I think it was like they dated for like 4 months or whatever. She's still thinking about 50 cent after all this time. You know? And it's crazy to be 60 years old and wanting to start a family. It's like, dude, you're delusional. This is peak female delusion.
You think if 34% of women are out there that are off the market, but 61%, maybe men are just giving up and they're getting a little bit scared. Because the reality of it is women, the right ones, want you to approach them. And a lot of guys are getting out of the market. This is kind of like when 2008 happened. You know what happened to realtors overnight? We had some 600,000 realtors in America in 2006, 2007. Overnight, 40% didn't renew their licenses. 240,000 left the real estate industry because it was so difficult. So it's like, oh my God, it's so hard to be in real estate. Yes, but if you're good, the market's going to come back to you and have an option because you have more homeowners that are looking for fewer realtors. So you can look at that as an edge. Now let's look at this because some of this is valid. Some young men are really going through this. Matter of fact, what's so funny about this topic is this was the conversation we were having this last Saturday night when we're out with the family. It was about dating with my 14-year-old, 12-year-old, and my family was sitting there, we're going through it. Barriers to
14-year-old trying to date. That's way too early, man, in my opinion, man. You still got a lot more self-discovery to deal with, man. It's like, just enjoy being a kid, man, at that age. You know, it's like, you don't you can have a little girlfriend and stuff like that, but in terms of like serious dating and stuff like that, it's a little too early to be thinking about that.
Dating. Survey shows that the biggest barrier to Gen Z dating is not having money. 52% of survey agree. Watch this. Not enough time because of career education priorities. So I'm so busy. I'm just trying to get my career going. I'm going to school. I don't have the time today. Great.
That makes sense. I think, you should definitely focus on, your career, whatever it is, whether you're in the trades or if you're trying to get a degree in something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Because guess what? Your opportunities for growth is going to increase if you work on yourself first, rather than trying to prioritize a relationship in your early years, in your formative years. It's like focus on yourself first.
Men agree. Women agree. Blue is men. Don't want to commit long-term. So they're afraid of long-term commitment. Okay. Bad dating experience in the past. You know who's had it? Every single one of us. Either you were the bad experience or the girl was the bad experience, but we've all been part of that experience. Most of us lack confidence. I'm worried. I don't have the confidence. We can work on this. Not enough money for dating activities. We can also work on that, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So when we go lower and we're looking at the dating costs, it leads us to this, okay? Dating, marriage, skills, gap. Desire and attitude are not the problem. They want to build connections that explore a long-term partner. This is young men. Young adults need dating skills. Lack of experience, social and emotional confidence, stretch, develop social skills, struggle to express interest in dating partner, struggle to communicate on a date. Less than 4 in 10, 37% said they trusted their judgment when it comes to choosing a dating partner. There's a book I read, which my assistant, many
It just seems like social media has just kind of made us all like socially inept. Like we can't really function in an actual like face-to-face conversation. It's like we're better texting each other and liking each other's posts on Instagram than just actually having an actual relationship conversation, just trying to find out about each other without having to just scour each other's Instagram or just flip through a bunch of pictures or whatever to figure it out. It's like, no, it's like, I think it's nice to go on a couple dates and figure somebody out just organically, but I think that's kind of dead now. It just seems like people aren't doing that anymore. It's like, we're just hooking up first and then we're going to pick up the pieces later and see how things turn out. But I mean, sometimes taking the long road is best, just because, I mean, the weak ones are going to fall off. The ones that aren't going to get what they want up front, those are the ones that are going to lose interest, and those aren't the ones you want anyway. Okay, I don't think anybody wants to be part of a one night stand and stuff when they're looking for something more. So yeah, maybe it might take a couple dates and stuff to kind of figure somebody out, to feel somebody out, and then it's like, yeah, if you're willing to go the distance and put forth the effort and stuff, yeah, I mean, it's going to pay off in the long run, but some people don't have time for the long run. They're like, look, I'm not even looking for anything permanent. I'm just looking for something right now.
Years ago told me about it. I said, listen, I just made a decision. I'm never getting married. I enjoy my own company. She says, yeah, whatever. I said, no, I'm telling you, I'll go to movies by myself. I'll go to dinner by myself. I enjoy my own company. She says, before you decide to be single the rest of your life, this morning I was listening to this Christian radio channel, and this guy was talking about a book called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. So she says, you should go buy it. So I'll buy the book. It sits on my desk. I do nothing with it. I'm thinking, I don't have time to go through a book. I open it up. It's literally a question and an answer. You write the answer. It's blank. So I went and started answering all the questions. Some of the questions were not important. I think 54 of them were important to me. By the time it was done, I was like, all this time I thought I knew what I was looking for a woman. I was looking for this. That's crazy. And then I wrote out exactly what I want her to look like physically, literally, height, personality, temperament, because I wanted to see how she was going to be with my kids. My personality is here. I can't date a girl like this. When I did, we almost killed each other. It was like World War III. So I had to kind of find a way for temperament, right? I'm thinking family, kids, long term. And when my wife and I went on our first date, you know what I told her? I said, I'm not here to hook up with you. I said, I'm looking for a wife. I took her to Borders. I bought the book for her, 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. I said, if this freaks you out, I'm super comfortable with that. If you're just thinking I want to go out and have fun, that's not this guy. There's plenty of guys out there. I managed the expectations right there. And I made sure she knew I'm okay if I lose her.
Okay, hold on. I got to fact check something real quick. How, if he did that, because they've been together for 17 years, that means that book would have to be over 17 years old. So let's see. What was the name of that book again? It was like 100 and something, whatever. So we're at 722. Just remember I'm going to type 722 in the chat so I remember where we're at. Just for 1 second, guys. 722. All right. Let me check something out. I gotta make sure. What was the name of that that book he was talking about?
So I went and started answering all the questions. Some of the company. She says, yeah, whatever. I said, no, I'm telling you, I'll go to movies by myself. I'll go to dinner by myself. I enjoy my own company. She says, before you decide to be single the rest of your life, this morning I was listening to this Christian radio channel, and this guy was talking about a book called 101 Questions.
101 questions before you get engaged. There it is. 101 questions before you get engaged. Let's see how. Okay, let's see. Book by Norman Wright. Anything to know about this book? Let's see when it came out. So it came out in 2004, June of 2004. So that does make it 21 years old. Okay. So I guess that would, yeah, well, she said they've been dating for 17 years. Okay. So I guess that kind of does line up. That does line up. Okay. I just want to make sure, because I mean, that could be completely bullshit, but no, I guess it was right. So 722. Let's go back to 722. All right, here we go.
Too many times, if you're kind of like, well, but what if I lose her? That's a turnoff. No, this is my standards. This is what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, so I do agree with that. You can't really have this like mindset that, oh, if I don't appease her, I don't make her happy, then yeah, I could lose her. This is still the beginning stages of the relationship and stuff like that. You have to be kind of have a backbone and willing to say some things to get to lose her and stuff. You can't be afraid, because a woman can smell desperation on you, if you don't have many options and stuff, and they see that, yeah, you're clinging to them because you're a codependent type person, whatever. So yeah, that's definitely a turn off. So I do agree with that.
This is what I'm going to do with my life. If you value that, let's go. If not, I totally get it. If your approach isn't that way, and the girl's looking at you saying, why is this guy so insecure about his position and his situation, where he's at, this is where I'm at, this is what I want to do in my life. And remember, that wasn't the case with me in 2002 when I was 24 years old, 23 years old. I was, oh my God, I got to get this. But I had to shift my mindset, because I had to increase my what? What was the confidence here? Somewhere it says confidence. I had to increase this. So when it says 37% questioning their judgment, why?
So social and emotional confidence comes with being in relationships, and also, with time, of being alone with yourself too, like being around people, having a group of friends and stuff, just growing and understanding who you are as a person. That comes with time. It can't really, it can be learned, I guess, but I mean, it's such a broad thing that you can't really teach it. It has to only be experienced. So the whole thing about confidence is that, yeah, people do have different levels of confidence, and, you can tell somebody to be more confident, but it's a lot more nuanced than that.
Because you're second guessing yourself. You don't believe in what you're doing now. Decision making with the business is the same exact way. Raising your kids is the same exact way. You know what? I don't know if I'm a right 100%, but this is what we're going to be doing. At least I'm leading to people I'm working with. So stay with me here, because I got some notes I wrote on the side that I want to go through with you as well. So I want you to think about a couple things here. Remember I told you the Charlize Theron story? Remember I told you? Where she's like, boys are not approaching me. Okay. So guys don't.
Boys want girls. They don't want 50-year-old women. Sorry to say it, but once you age out and the drinks stop coming, and you're just the 50-year-old in the bar, it comes from everybody, and yeah, you're gonna only get men that are gonna be a lot older than you, that are gonna consider you as any type of thing, whereas, young guys that are going to approach you, they're just going to want you for sex. They're not going to want you for an actual relationship.
Don't talk to her. Is it on her that guys are not talking to her? Is she too, masculine? And guys don't want masculine girls. So maybe it's unattractive that you're too masculine. So some of the ladies.
I agree with that. I think, masculine women are probably they're just kind of out of order in the most part, like nobody wants a woman who's like super, super loud and aggressive and stuff like that. And, just, the New York type of accent, where they just try to be like all, they act like dudes, but they're in women's bodies and stuff. It's like, no, man, it's like men want the opposite of them. They want something to complement them. And, a brutish woman, a woman that's super aggressive, man, that's not attractive at all.
He's watching this. I'm a girl boss. I'm a this. I'm a that. The other day I was watching a podcast with Joe Button.
I learned a lot about women. I think I learned exactly how
I've seen this before where the guy's talking about Adam and Eve and how they pretty much had everything they wanted in the Garden of Eden or whatever. And then the woman messed all that up. I'm not going to say anymore. Let's watch it.
All of man occurred in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and Adam said one day, wow, Eve, here we are at one with nature, at one with God. We'll never age, we'll never die. And all our dreams come true the instant that we have them. And Eve said, yeah, it's just not enough, is it?
The only person that's not laughing is the woman. That's it.
Oh. That's not funny.
I was just waiting for more.
Well, that was kind of his point.
She says,
perfect response.
I don't get it. I didn't think that was a big deal. Joe says, the guy just made his point because no one can make you happy. So, but those are not the girls to pursue because you're never going to make them happy.
It's like an endless loop, man. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that will never come into into fruition. Like you want so much stuff, and there's never enough stuff to fill you up. You're always going to want more, and it's like the pursuit of money, pursuit of things and stuff. It's like all that stuff is fleeting, because even after you attain everything in life, there's still that emptiness inside that you feel like you could always have more. So it's like now you need to figure out what is fulfilling in life. Is it leaving a legacy? Is it having an impact? I think for a man, I think it's not about longevity. It's not about living forever. It's about having an impact, leaving the earth better or, better than it was. I think that's kind of the ultimate goal, but also just, leading a fulfilling life to yourself and maybe helping others along the way. I think that's always a good thing.
Be miserable if you're pursuing those girls. So if you're watching this, you're like, hey, I'm that.
I think that's why charity is so after you are so successful in, managing your finances and stuff to where money is no object. I think the only thing that's fulfilling in life is giving to charity and helping other people out, because I think that's where, you can still feel like you're getting a piece of life back by seeing, the happiness on people's faces. I think it's good.
Girl, well, good luck to you. I don't know what kind of a guy you're going to find, but you're going to make us happy because we don't want to date a masculine girl. So maybe she's the problem. Maybe it's on the guys that are scared saying, Mel, she's too pretty. She would never be interested in me. Maybe she would be.
I understand wanting to have women meet us halfway, that we don't feel like we're being, taken advantage of and stuff. But I do think that there's a little bit of a risk as a man that you have to kind of take in order to see through whatever you're trying to, get out of this relationship with this woman and stuff. If there's a woman that, you are, attracted to, that you want to pursue something with, I think it's natural in us to want to, put up that initial effort, whatever it's monetary or if it's just, something simple, whatever, basically just to kind of, peacock our way to kind of get her to notice and stuff like that. I'm not saying go all the way full simp. I'm not saying that, but I am saying we are going to put that upfront investment if that is something that we're willing to, invest in and pursue and stuff, but I think today that's kind of been flipped on its head where men are so they don't want to take the risk anymore. They just want to make sure it's a sure thing, right? So they're like, yeah, well, let's just go 50-50, for a while. And let me just see if you're in it or not, You don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't think anybody does. So you kind of like, instead of going full on the investment and stuff, you just kind of set expectations and be like, look, like I don't really know where this is going to go, so I would rather just kind of just pay my half, if all goes well and we do this again, maybe I'll splurge a little bit more and stuff, or maybe it can be your turn and then it can be my turn again or something like that, if you want to do a second date or not. They kind of put the ball in the woman's court or something like that, which I don't know, man. I think if you give the woman the opportunity to make the choice, I think the woman will always go with the broader option of just kind of keeping you around for a specific role. Like, okay, so this guy, he likes to take me out to eat. This guy likes to take me out shopping. This guy likes to take me out on trips and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, you just kind of, you kind of make yourself into that box of manipulation. Because, women are dating like men now. They are dating with a roster of rotation of guys and stuff like that. And it's very masculine, and it's not, I think it's awful, man. I don't think women can go back to being, these chaste beings and stuff that are, monogamous and single-minded, because there's just too many options. Also, if a man comes on too strong and gives on that boyfriend energy, they reject that. But if a guy is like, like, oh, I don't really know what I want and stuff like that, that guy has a better chance of like scoring with the girl, like having her for the night, because the girl's like, yeah, I'd rather be with a guy that's, not trying to have anything, no strings attached, like that's more, which is like, it's kind of weird, right? It's like a woman is more comfortable hooking up with a guy that's that has less, what's the word, less, like I guess a concrete idea to him, like he doesn't really have, he's not planning out our life and stuff, he's not trying to build this into like a solid relationship. He just wants to have fun right now. A woman is willing to have fun with a guy for that, that has no strings attached, rather than to, give it to the guy that's willing to settle down and stuff like that. It's like, it just doesn't seem that appealing to them. Like, it's almost like, where was the father in all of this? It's like the father could have been the guy to, maybe pre-select some solid guys, whatever like that. But it always turns out that the guy that dad selects, whatever, yeah, he's a nice guy and stuff, but he doesn't sexually excite, the woman, like he's not dangerous, he has this like 9 to 5 that he goes to and stuff. And, yeah, he has potential and everything like that, but he's not exciting, he's a very safe guy. And safe for a lot of women is like not attractive until they're Vivica A. Fox and they want to, settle down and have that safe guy now. They want to settle down and, they're done. They want to hang it up and they're ready to be in a secure relationship where the guy's going to be, true to her and stuff, and not be this player running around and stuff. I mean, the unrealistic expectations is 6 figures, but you also have to be attractive, but then you also have to be monogamous to just you, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's like you got a guy who is they also have to be young too. They can't be like 40 and 55, but they got to be like 35. They can't be over 35 because otherwise that's too old and stuff. It's like, well, you got to kind of make an exception or a concession for something here. It's just not realistic. I think it's just the market has now shifted from, being social, going to social interactions and stuff, going to bars and going up to women and talking to them and stuff and just getting to know them organically. I think that it is shifted away from that. And now we all have, our rap sheets and stuff on each other through our social media posts and profiles and everything. So we already have a good idea of who we're meeting up with, and whether that person that we meet up with is their picture matches them, that's another deterrent, like, when did you take this photograph of yourself? Oh, it was over 10 years ago. Well, I kind of was attracted to the person you were 10 years ago, It's just like, damn, I kind of see why I feel like I'm being in a catfish situation. That's something that, people never had to deal with before, Exo Charles came back. He says, do you mind if I ask for some advice? I've been out of work for a couple years. I recently found a job, but I lost my ability to be on a schedule and work 8 to 9 hours. Any tips for getting used to it? Sleep, getting your sleep schedule. I don't know what your sleep schedule is and stuff, but if you're working 8 to 9 hours, you definitely need to have 8 hours of sleep. Your body will adjust to working any amount of hours, depending whether it's like you're working like overshift hours where you're working like, 12-hour shifts and stuff like that. Or even if you're working doubles and stuff where sometimes you're working like 15-hour days. I've done that too. Your body will adjust. But yeah, I mean, even you said you've been out of work for a couple years. Your body will adjust, but I think you just got to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Sleep is very important. I don't know how old you are, Exo Charles, but sleep is the biggest determining factor. That would probably be my advice to you is just, your body is very resilient, man. And you'll be able to adjust to it. I don't know if you have to wake up early for this. I mean, for me, I'm a night person. So any job I select, if it starts from 2 to 3 p.m. afterwards, I'm good with that. I'm not a morning person. I know that about myself. If I work a job where I have to work in the morning, I probably won't take it, to be completely honest. And you know what? It works out for me because my wife is a morning person. So she works in the mornings and then I work at night and we split our time with our kids and stuff like that. So it always works out. She's not a night person. She goes to bed, early, like 9 o'clock. And I start my day at like 9 p.m. I can literally stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning and stuff. But even that, I'm trying to like get to bed after the Tonight stream. I'll probably try to get to bed at like 4, 5 in the morning, but it is what it is. But no, in terms of your scheduling and stuff like that, just work out a plan. If this is like the only job you got and stuff. I mean, if you have multiple jobs, you definitely need to work out your sleep schedule and work that out and stuff. You can run off of like 7 hours of sleep and still be able to perform like actively and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, it's like, because when I was in my 20s, I had 3 jobs. I had a retail job, a restaurant job, and then an overnight job. And the overnight job started at 1 a.m. I didn't get my first break until like 8 in the morning. And then I got off at noon. And then after I left at noon, I would start my restaurant job at 1 p.m. with no, I literally didn't even go home. I had my work clothes for my second job in my backpack. So I literally just went from one job to the next without like showering, or even resting for that hour in between. Like it was a lot. I mean, I was that was when I was doing my Red Bulls and Monster energy drinks and 5-hour energies and all that stuff. I was doing all that. No, it wasn't good at all, dude. It was horrible, actually. I actually had to end up dropping the overnight job, even though it paid pretty well. But because my sleep kept, I was basically a zombie at my other job. Like I looked so haggard, and I looked it was bad. So I had to. It wasn't sustainable for me. And yeah, dude, it was like I put my health at risk. And. Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest. I was at the point where I was like, dude, I don't really want to work any job. I could not put an effort, I couldn't put 100% in anything because I was spread so thin, and it was all because I wasn't getting enough sleep. All I was concerned about was just making enough money to, cover my rent and, just try to stack up money and stuff. But I realized that you have to balance your work with your rest, because if you don't, dude, you're just going to put yourself in an early grave. I've done warehouse work, man. And yeah, dude, it takes a lot of physical toll on the body. And, doing that and then, maybe working a second job, it's a lot, man. And, you don't ever want to hate your new job that you just started doing. You want to kind of go in there feeling good, wanting to work and stuff. And it's like sometimes when you got to like get your mind right and stuff, and it takes time. Your body will adjust, and but it all starts with getting enough rest. When I was young, you couldn't have told me that. Rest was the last thing on my mind. But now that I'm older, and and it's the most important thing in terms of your quality of life. Your temperament and all that stuff. Everything hinges on the amount of rest you're getting. So, and make sure you're also eating right and stuff like that. I know being on the go, which I was for many years. I was basically just the microwave was my friend. Hot Pockets, I think Hot Pockets and ramen noodles, man. I was on that for the longest time, and it was just everything had to be instant, and I had to eat it while standing up. Exo Charles came back. He's like, "Thanks for advice. It's a full-time job, and I'm really motivated to start, but I'm also a night person like you." Well, I can completely understand how it's exciting to start a new job and stuff, and then understanding what it entails, and what changes you need to make in order to work it into your life schedule. It's got to start with your hours, what hours you're going to be starting at, so just make sure you plan accordingly in terms of like getting enough rest, man, because if it's a good opportunity, man, you definitely don't want to waste that good opportunity. I kind of want to get back to this video, man. I want to see what else advice. So far, what he's saying, some of it I kind of think is a little bit outdated, a little bit, because the whole dating thing has changed. But some of it is kind of like common sense, yes, but I don't know. I wonder if Sonic is listening. This is kind of me baiting him a little bit to come into the stream and stuff, but I think that Sonic would have a strong stance against everything that Patrick Bet-David is saying on this, in terms of like how to approach women and how to like, be confident, stuff like that. Because, we haven't heard all of it. I want to hear more. But I think that what he was talking about, like the 60% of men that are, completely walked away from dating and stuff like that. I think this is kind of ringing true for at least Sonic's situation, in terms of like, I don't really want to, be in a relationship with a woman right now. I just kind of want to focus on myself and stuff, because maybe you're thinking that, you need to be more developed, Sonic is here. Sonic is here. See, you say his name and he shows up like Candyman. You say his name 3 times and poof, here he is. Sonic, welcome to the stream, sir. Bro, he's a scammer. Patrick Bet-David's pyramid schemes, we're going to put that to the side for right now. Right now, he's talking to Gen Zers, okay? So, Sonic, you're more than welcome to join the Discord call. I'll go ahead and invite you to that real quick. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Sonic, please join the Discord chat, and let's have it out, man, because I don't want to just watch this alone. This is a hangout stream, okay? So, anything that this guy says, I want you to let me know, where he's completely off on here, because this is a fresh watch. Okay. I'm watching this fresh with all of the hustlers. Okay. So, anything that I hear that's going to be off base, I will call it out. I do think he's 17 years into a marriage. Okay. So does he have the license to speak about 2026 dating? Debatable. It's debatable. There are some things in this world that truly works, and there's stuff that just does not work anymore. But I want to see the rest. We're only 10 minutes in. So Sonic says, okay, give me a second. I'll hop on. Excellent. Let's do it. All right. So let's continue. And then if anything comes across that you want to chime in about, whether it's Sonic or Ghost, just let me know. All right, let's go.
Maybe it's 50-50. Maybe it's 5%. Is it worth taking a risk? Sure. What's the worst thing she's going to say? Not interested. Okay, great. And you move on.
How you doing, Sonic? How you been, sir?
I've been good, man. Just staying away from the online sphere, just kind of minding my own business.
Really? Staying, yeah. See, I've been trying to get online, but my internet provider won't let me. So I'm just glad to finally be here with you guys, you know, and with the Hustlers community and stuff, and being able to post again. Because it was really frustrating, man, this whole last week, man. But I'm just glad to be back in it, man. And it's, you know, it's good to hear everybody's voice again, man. It's good to hear you guys, man. I understand, like, yeah, we are all on different places and stuff like that, but it's cool, man. We all get to kind of pick up where we left off, man. It feels good.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But no, I mean, I don't know if you've been listening to the stream in terms of like what Patrick Bet-David has been saying in terms of like, do you think he has any type of license to be talking to Gen Z men about what you can do? Because he prefaced this entire conversation as like, here's what worked for me 25 years ago. I found that totally ridiculous.
I mean, like, when it comes to like trying to teach the younger generation, obviously, you know, you have to put a lot of thought into what you're teaching. And I think that Patrick Bet-David, he just simplifies it way too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely has put together this this presentation. You know, he's taking a lot of notes and he's breaking it down in terms of like, you know, he used the poor example of Charlize Theron and why, you know, men aren't approaching her anymore. I mean, it's obvious though. You know, women that are past their prime. I mean, this woman is in her 50s, I believe, and yes, was she hot when she first came on the scene? Absolutely. And, you know, it's also debatable that she is attractive now. I mean, she does look great at 50, but in terms of like men, you know, that are in their like 20s or even 30s, whatever, wanting to approach her for anything serious, I don't think so. You know, it's just kind of like it doesn't compute like that. Yes, will they have sex with her? Absolutely. But in terms of like locking her down, no. You know, maybe a man that's like in his like that's older, maybe like in his 60s or 70s, whatever, would definitely take on Charlize Theron and be like, absolutely. It's like she's gonna be like a 20-year-old in their eyes, you know. So it's like that's the only way we're gonna work out. But then you have women like Vivica A. Fox, who's publicly going online saying, "Oh, I'm ready to settle down and have a family." Who's like in her 60s? She's like 62 or 63 or something, and it's not looking good. You know, it's actually kind of sad. But it's like peak female delusion, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're ready to hang it up. Well, the shot clock was buzzing like the last 20 years, you know? You should have already been married. You should have already had a couple kids by now. You should have already been like knee deep in a marriage by now. But the fact is, you know, you wanted to still be fuckable in your 50s, and now look at you. Now you're 60 and you want to really get serious, you know?
Yeah, that sounds more like a problem that she's dealing with, not exactly like the problem that, you know, it's not exactly a problem in the dating scene. It just seems like it's just mostly her. I
mean, yes, that is an individual. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of delusional women out there as well that are kind of in her situation too, that are just like, look, I'm sick of being this, you know, just jump off, you know, of just being this woman that men just want to sleep with. Like, I'm ready for something real, but everybody just wants to sleep with me and use me and dispose of me. And, there's actually another topic after this video. It has to do with the female comedian. She went on a podcast, this white lady, I can't remember her name. I will know her once we get to it, but you know, she's talking about, she's in her 50s, and you know, she's fine with being, you know, like screwed around and being like this, you know, being known as a slut and stuff. And she's like, if anything ever gets serious, she's just like, I leave. I don't want to be in anything serious because I just like being, you know, looked at as kind of like a sex symbol and stuff, you know, like that's fulfilling for her, which I think is a little bit of a cope in my opinion, but I don't want to poison the well. We'll get to it when we get to it. Let me know if you can hear everything. I have this shared, whatever, in terms of the screen and stuff. So you should hear it okay, but just let me know.
And then maybe it's, you know, sex is too available. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know about that. I'm just going to go swipe right. And, you know, a couple of our guys, when we're on the road and we're doing interviews, one of our guys, I won't say his name, we're in LA, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to see what the LA market's like. I said, what the hell does this mean? I've been married.
That sounds like his co-host, Adam Salznick. because he's still a single guy that's on the dating apps or whatever, and that sounds exactly right up his alley. I'm just gonna go check out the LA scene, see what it's all about. Yeah, that sounds like him 100%. I can only imagine, because I mean that's like between LA and Miami, it's just like plastic surgery city, man. Everybody's got plastic surgery going on, and it's just such a high expectation in terms of like the dating pool out there, as unrealistic as it is. I don't know.
Hey, Meg, can I ask you a question, Camp? Like, when you imagine the dating scene, what kind of girls do you exactly imagine? Like, I feel like you only like imagine like club girls, and that's like pretty much it, and like hot women.
Okay, so my whole, I guess, my demographic, like in terms of like women that are, I guess, mid 20s to like probably all the way to like 35. That would be like the demographic of women I'm talking about. And, this could be anything from, professionals to people in, the hospitality industry, maybe, or maybe even in like the hotel industry, something like that. Working people, like, I don't know. People I see every day. I see people every day that are, 20 somethings, 30 somethings, I kind of like, after like 35, man, it's like women tend to be married, at least in my opinion, of what I see around where I'm living and stuff. People usually kind of settle down into families and stuff once they reach, once they're past the 35. So I would say that the dating scene, from at least where I'm at right now, you got women that are like, they're all the way from, mid 20s to, mid 30s. That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay. Oh, okay, for sure. Just trying to get like a grasp of as to how you think about like the dating pool and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for sure then.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, my vision of it is really just kind of localized to what's around me. I'm not. Yeah, I can't speak on LA. I can't speak on Miami. I can only speak on what's around me. So, all right, let's keep going.
The same relationship since December 29th of 07. So I'm gonna swipe right to see what the LA market looks like. I don't know if you remember this or not. How was it? I was actually disappointed. The next, I'm like, that's it? Yes, that's it. So you swiped right and you went and, yeah. So it's become so transactional. Why would I flirt with her? I already got what I wanted. So now you may say, Pat, that's not me. I want something serious, fair. Let's talk about that. So what is the purpose of dating somebody?
I mean, if you go on a dating app, though, you kind of already lost, right? If you're looking for something more. If you're not looking for something more, you're right where you need to be. Are the girls just looking to hook up, or are girls trying to look for a relationship? What's the percentage of girls that are looking for relationships on dating apps?
I would say like 20%.
Long-term relationships.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. I just don't think you're going to find a good girl. You're not going to find a good girl, man. You're not. I think it's just like you're going to find the girls that are a little hard in the face and also in the life, man. They're just like, look, man, I don't view men as like prospects anymore. I view them as like an opportunity for me to come up, like I can put this person in this box, get what I need out of them, and then I can dispose of them, and then I can move on to the next one, and they can support my lifestyle. They can get me from A to B, and then this guy can get me from B to C. Like that's it. Sonic, what do you got?
Damn, I'm gonna be honest with you. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Fucking knew it.
I should have just gone.
Wow. I told you should have gone first, bro. I told you should have gone first. For that very fucking reason, you should have gone first, because I knew it. You were gonna lose it after a couple minutes. Well, do you want to just learn? We'll just continue, and then if it comes back to you, just say something. All right, let's go.
What's the purpose of dating the opposite sex? Is it a fling? Like, I just want to go out there and have fun. Great. So your outcome is different. Go swipe right. If your outcome is this, go learn how to DM. Go improve your DM game. Go improve how to message better. Go improve what emojis to send. Maybe some of you.
Decoder, welcome to the stream, sir. Oh shit, you got Sonic in there? I did, man. I was baiting him with this video, and I said his name 3 times, and poof, he appeared. So yeah, welcome to the stream, Decoder. Good to see you, man.
Send emojis of us.
Decoder says you guys should debate. I mean, this might be a precursor to a debate. This is kind of it. Yeah, this is a little bit of a kind of a little bit of a little bait situation. I mean, we've already covered the whole, modern dating thing, and how my stance is out dating and I'm just leading men astray, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Whereas Sonic has the more realistic approach. And, I don't know. In my opinion, I'm not saying I have the right opinion, but I just think that, Sonic's approach, it works for him. I'll just say that. That's probably the best way I can give it to you, Sonic. So your Sonic, your approach works for you, man. But
no, I mean, like, it's not that it works for me. It's just that this is like the direction we're moving in. Like,
yeah. I mean,
so yeah, it's not just it's just not for me.
The direction
it's for everybody.
Can you give a little bit more, like, in terms of like, okay, so is it all doom and gloom, or is there a way to turn it around?
No, it's not even doom and gloom. I think it's just that, I think that because men nowadays, they're focusing on the wrong things because, and with all due respect, Camp.
Here we go.
But, your outdated methods, that's kind of what, like, sends these men into oblivion, like instead of like encouraging.
Can you name an outdated method that I have?
Yeah. So men approaching women, that's like the biggest one. Like,
foundation. That's the foundation, Sonic. What are you talking about?
No. Have you seen the numbers though? The numbers clearly dictate a different thing. Like if you go online and you ask, what percentage of people meet online, it's an overwhelming number. It's like 70%, which means that a lot of people aren't approaching anymore. So the logical step to do is to what? Improve your selfie game, improve your photos, and improve your page on Instagram or wherever you want to promote yourself. That's the way we're doing it now.
What's going on in the comments is fucking hilarious. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. But so you got to work on your communication, because what comes after the dating app, what comes after the whole rap sheet and all the selfies and all the stuff that you make up about yourself in terms of your digital footprint, what comes after? What does it circle back to once you finally meet up to them? Your communication. Okay. You need to work on that. You need to work. Your confidence will come with experience. I'm reading from my notes, whatever, because that's how I keep my thoughts in place, whatever. But so understand your self-work and what you are looking for. Okay. So you have to make sure that you know what you want. Okay. You can't you don't be so specific in terms of so rigid. Cause I think men, we have a range. I've already said this on previous streams. Men have a range of women that they will date, whereas women are more specific in terms of what they're looking for. So you kind of have to be open to that and understand that even if you find the girl that meets all of your attributes, you still have to, meet hers as well. And still have to kind of be flexible in terms of whatever hangups, whatever each one of you guys have of each other, whatever. You got to be able to kind of accept the flaws with each other in order to, go with it. And then in terms of your experience, your confidence coming with experience. What does experience mean? It means traveling the world. It means seeing the world, not being just in your computer space, whatever, and just, researching the world, actually going out and touching grass and stuff, a better way to say it, whatever. But basically just, speaking to strangers with no interest or expectation of actually it leading to a relationship, just getting better, more comfortable speaking to the opposite sex instead of just looking at them as whatever these what's the word, opportunists to kind of take advantage of you and stuff. I think it's good to just kind of do your best to not hold this, what's the word, one word. It's not good to have it all holding on this line that yes, I have to make sure that I'm perfect. Because that's not, you don't want to be, you just be the best version of yourself. I'm not saying be fake or whatever like that. Don't be somebody you're not, whatever, because that's going to take a lot of work and you're not going to be able to keep that up. But just be the best version of yourself, and that comes with working on yourself, and that's in all aspects, not just your looks, but your communication and your personality and all the other stuff like that. Go ahead.
I kind of agree with that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That sounds nice, but ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't work like that. Bro, I literally have homeless people who go up to women, literally poor women, and they end up taking them back home it's well, they don't have a home, but like behind wherever they're gonna mess around. I'm not gonna cuss. But they go around messing around, and bro, like these people are homeless, or like one of them is homeless, So like, yeah, I get it. Like, you have Myron telling you that you got to be the best version of yourself. You got to be 110% yourself, but that's just not how it works, man. I hate to break it to you. I don't know if you're gonna cry in the corner later on, but like, it's reality.
What do the dating apps let you do? They let you edit yourself to be the best part, right? But it's when you're
dating apps.
Dating apps, yeah, they give you the opportunity to like edit yourself, your responses, your best photos, and all that stuff like that. But when you're live in the field, it's like you're running a live stream, and you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna ramble, and you're gonna have lulls and stuff like that. And
yeah.
Whereas, like, yeah, it's like you gotta kind of. Whereas, and you're on the dating app and stuff, yeah, you're basically just showing the best parts of yourself, but you're leaving out all the rest.
Yeah, but then that comes down to like perception, because oftentimes a lot of perception is skewed. Like, for instance, like how many women always have the impression that they're gonna date a confident man who's gonna be 6 feet 6 inches, 6 everything, right? 6'6", mark of the beast, all of that. But the reality is that, like, because their perception is distorted, they go into these meetups with like a huge expectation when you're not supposed to do that, because both of you guys are going to make mistakes. But unfortunately, because of the way women are conditioned, they're going to go into this already with the mindset of like, yeah, I'm definitely going to break up with this guy if this guy can't tie his shoes, if he can't backflip or whatever, so yeah.
I think men fall short in that aspect, because I think women are going to always have an expectation that can never really be met. It's like, yeah. you were you had charisma, whatever, when you were texting me and stuff. You were saying all the right things, and all your photographs are professionally done. They have you in the best lighting and stuff like that. But now when I see you and I hear you in conversation and stuff, you don't really have that much excitement going on. And I think excitement is kind of like a big factor for women, because you can be this guy that goes to work, that is responsible, that, maybe have, a religious background, maybe you're family oriented and stuff like that, but you're safe, and that might be something that's kind of a turnoff, because a woman wants a man that's, not all women, but a woman might want a man that's a little bit more unpredictable, a little bit more, a little dangerous, maybe,
Can I say 2 things really quick?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Okay, so first off, real quick, Camp and Ghost, if I want to interrupt you guys, it's not a formal debate, but like if I wanted to interrupt you guys so I don't forget a thought, do you guys mind if I do that?
Please, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay, and then second, Decoder, because I see Decoder in here, like, you don't want to step in, man? Like, we're just having fun, bro. We're not here to like rip each other apart. Just step in, man. If you got something to say,
I'm actually here to rip you guys apart. I am.
Okay, well,
I'm just listening. I'm just listening at this point.
Welcome to the chat, man. If you got anything to say, man.
If there's something, I'll definitely jump in for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Right, for sure, man.
Good to hear you, Decoder, man. Good to hear you.
Good to hear you, Ken.
Have fun, man. And then Benny, if you're listening, dude, jump in too, dude. Like, you always come at you. He always comes at me in the chat. This time,
dude, Benny,
bro,
he's a keyboard
warrior. If you want to come at me
man.
right now, come at me right now, because I'm like right here. Toast and Camp and Carlos, if you want to answer as well. Let me ask you guys a question. I'm very curious to know what you guys would say about this. If a woman approached you to ask you out, to take you on a date, what's your response to that? I'm curious to know what you guys would say.
If she's smoking hot, dude, and it's like, what's her face? Black Widow. If it's Scarlett Johansson, I'm fucking taking it, bro.
No. Let's be more realistic, because
I'm taking it, bro.
The realm of fantasy. Like, we'll say like someone who's decently average just goes up to you. She's
okay. Give me a number out of 10. 5 being average.
I don't know what your 5 looks like. It might not be the same.
My
as mine,
5
but
looks
let's
way better
6.
than your 5. I'll tell you that right now.
All right. I mean, like, I doubt it, but all right.
Okay, an adjustable 6. So she's
cute.
An
adjustable 6.
Okay, so she's cute.
Okay.
I mean,
you can custom make her any way you want.
I mean, I'm not custom making any woman. That's her realm. Okay. But what I will say is that if a woman approaches me, and she has to be smoking hot, man. I'm sorry. There's no I mean, and I know I've said this before that like it's just completely unnatural. It's still kind of creeping back into me that it's unnatural for a woman to approach me. You know, like I have to be the one to do that. It just comes off aggressive. It comes off masculine. And if she approaches me, I'm sure she approaches other guys, and that's what I'm gonna have in the back of my head. So that's my answer. I'm probably gonna say no.
Cavos, what would you say? Like, how would you approach that situation?
Well, I just want to comment real quick on what Camp said right now.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I don't think that just because a girl approaches, she's necessarily like doing it in a masculine way, or it's gonna come off automatically as a masculine way. I think girls can approach feminine, like in a feminine way. But I mean, I've been approached before, so it's not really that big of a deal for me. I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. If the woman,
let me finish my thought.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want you to lose it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with Carlos. Like that's exactly how I would approach it. I would be like, oh, okay,
confirmation bias,
and then, of course I would just start talking to her. I'll be like, all right, so are you down to meet up? You want to walk around, talk, whatever the case is. I'll give her a chance. We're not living in the modern day anymore. This is the kind of advice that you guys give to men.
Are we just taking whatever we get that comes our way? Are we just taking anything? Because it sounds
no. I'm not even suggesting that. I'm just saying that.
It sounds like that. No, it sounds like we're taking whatever comes to us, and we're not having any type of agency in the fact, like
Wait a minute, Cap. Oh no, you're not gonna do this.
No, I already did it.
You said when I asked you, like, if a 5 or a 6 came up to you, you said that your 5 or 6 was hotter than my 5 or 6. Okay,
that's just true. That's just true.
In some way, you found this woman attractive in some way.
I found her cute.
Okay,
I found her cute.
But
that's not hot. That's not smoking hot. Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, so
smoking hot is 8, 9, 10, sir. Come on, man.
The point that I'm trying to make though is that the fact that you said no, she has to be smoking hot. Like I don't know what level of hotness you're referring to, but she has to be smoking hot. Like, do you understand the kind of message that sends to all these men who are listening to you, to all the men that listen to Myron, all of these people when they say if the woman isn't hot, then don't bother even trying to get to know this woman?
Well, because it's not going to be anything long term. It's going to be something where I'm going to hit it and I'm going to quit it.
But what about all the women who do intend to like have a long intentional relationship? Because remember, even women, they have more power now. Even women, they want.
Not in my world, but okay.
All of them.
I have a Cam. Can I ask you something?
Wait, hold on. We got to go with what he just write down whatever you thought you're going to say. Well, okay, Sonic, you said women have a lot more power now in terms of like who they date.
In terms of a lot of things, actually, their power is pretty expensive.
You mean their time, right? That we're talking. Their time with you, like their consideration, their time of consideration. Is that what you're talking about? Like their time that they're spending with you.
When I say power, I'm referring to the fact that they can go up to you and they can ask you out. That's what I'm referring to.
It just doesn't happen, man. But okay, I just feel like we're talking theory right now, man.
No, we're not. We're not talking theory. Dude, all you got to really do is just go open up TikTok, type up women going up to men.
That stuff is fake.
Not even dozens. I'm sorry. There's
thousands
of women talking about how they want to approach men, but they can't do it.
This is content, man. It's just content. It's not. This is not reality, sir.
I want to hear what Cavos.
Yeah, please, Cavos.
Want to comment?
Go ahead, Cavos.
Your comment.
Yeah. Well, this kind of goes back to what you said just now, Camp. Were you presupposing that the relationship isn't going to work because the girl approaches the guy?
Yes, I was, because I think that it's just it's like it's starting off on the wrong foot. Like if you met this girl through cheating, I don't think that relationship is going to work. It's kind of like on those same like kind of like that's how you guys met, and that's how like then you guys decided to break up with your girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever, and you guys got together. I don't think that is kind of the basis of a solid relationship, because that's how you guys met, through cheating on your girlfriends and boyfriends,
Well, I'm just talking about like a girl just approaching a guy. Like I'm not really talking about cheating.
No, I'm just saying I kind of lump it in the same. I think that there's no long-term future for that type of relationship. I just don't. I think it starts off on the wrong foot. I just think it's unnatural. It's unnatural in my opinion. But
The-
as a personality type, okay, a woman who is the alpha, I guess, the one that takes what she wants. She sees what she wants. She likes it. She sees it, and she goes for what she wants. Whatever. That is, to me, is like, I think a woman can do it in a way to still be feminine, and the way to do that is to get me to notice her so that I do my thing and approach her. I'm just saying, like, if a woman approached me, it would already kind of be at an imbalance already, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
I don't want a woman sweeping me off my feet. That is my job to do. So that's what I'm trying to say.
So even if she did it in like the most feminine way, you would just still see it as like masculine, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let me clarify. If she's doing it in the most feminine way, it would be her getting me to notice her so that I do my job of going over to her and doing
What if she just said hi though? Like what if she just approached you and was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Or like, just said hi, like
that's fine.
What's your name?
That's not her being masculine. That's not her being aggressive. That is her just saying hi and still doing the thing to get me to notice, and then me kind of handing over the reins to me to like get me to notice, and then that's literally what I'm talking about. If a woman does it that way, then yes, it still kind of puts the ball in my court. Whereas if she, completely was like, "Hey, sugar, what's cooking?" Or I don't know. I mean,
it's very overt.
Yeah. If she comes off like completely aggressive, like say she's from the Bronx or something. Hold on one second.
I mean, that's definitely masculine.
If she is masculine about it, then yeah, it's gonna be like no. I mean, it's gonna be a no go.
I don't know. I just don't think most girls are approaching like that, though. To be honest with you,
it's kind of like in sales, man. You kind of want to make someone feel like they're making the good decision, the good choice to buy your product and stuff. And the way to do that is to make them feel like they're making the decision and not you're making it for them. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I talk about, is kind of regurgitated. It's not nonsense. It's stuff that is, proven to work. But also, like even in relationships, it does boil down to the man has to make the choice to choose the woman. So if the woman can, I guess for lack of a better word, to manipulate the man to notice her, and then, have him do the job, then yeah, that's the most feminine way that a woman can approach the situation, rather than trying to be, like, hey, you want to take me out and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm good,
Yeah, but this just kind of goes back to Sonic's point, though, that like things are just changing. You know what I mean? I mean,
that's fine. It can change, but guess what? I'm gonna be old school, man. I'm gonna be old school, and the women that are gonna drop their handkerchief or whatever, and get me to pick it up for them and stuff, that's gonna be a little bit more of the. I mean, I know that's a very archaic example, but like, I mean, even in my time, that has never happened. But I'm just saying, like, if a woman is going to get me to notice her in an indirect way, even if it's just locking eyes from across the room and stuff, that is the most feminine way possible. It's not being this like approaching and having like a line or something like that. I mean, not even a line, but just, you just, I don't know. What are we talking about? Are we talking about like a woman saying hi and then like, just doing all of these signals to project interest, like, hey, how are you?
The burden is still going to be on the guy to, make the first move, continue the conversation and stuff like that. But I don't know if Sonic wants to chime in. I think maybe and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if the girl just like maybe lets you know that, she's interested, and she doesn't have to obviously come out and say it, but like how I said earlier, she can just come up to you, ask for your name, ask how you are, what you're doing and stuff. And, then you as the man, you can continue, obviously, just continue the conversation forward. I mean, I don't know what Sonic thinks about that, but
my guard is going to be up, because I'm going to be like, well, she probably does this with all the guys, if it's coming too easy, I don't want it,
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons, because you think like this, that's one of the reasons why women hesitate to approach, because of this kind of archaic thinking. But once like this archaic thinking is it's obsolete. Women, it's not even that women are going to approach, it's that women are potentially going to find another way of selecting a man, or perhaps there's going to be some sort of ritual or something, because this is, at least to me, it's a very ineffective way of approaching, finding love. I mean, that's why, like, if you really read about what women are doing nowadays, you can see that women are not approaching men in the traditional sense. Instead, they're relying heavily on like DMs, social media. They're doing that because you have to remember that when it comes to a woman, there's still a layer of safety that they have to ensure exists within the approach, because if not, then they're potentially going to face danger, because no matter what you do, a man is still going to be a man, right? He's still going to have incredible power dynamics over a woman. And so a woman has to keep that into consideration, which is why I think personally in the future that the way approaching is done nowadays, it's going to be obsolete in the future. It's going to be more catered towards online media that's going to be bringing people together, and we're already seeing the beginnings of that right now.
No, sure. No, you know what? I mean, the data is already out there, the amount of people that are meeting online and having these fruitful, relationships and stuff, long-term marriages and stuff that lead to children and all that stuff. It's already out there, and I think there are people that are not willing to jump on the bandwagon, and they're just going to kind of, do things the way that things have always been done. Meet people and just try to charm the pants off of them and stuff. Well, I mean, not charm the pants off of them, but, just try to use their personality and try to, try to set themselves apart, by not having the expectation that I have to lock you down, It's like if you just have a casual conversation with a woman and just, you'd be like, wow, you look great. I decided to come over here and let you know and stuff. And then, you just go about your day, then that could spark something, where she's just like, well, hold on, wait, and she wants to know about, where are you from? You're not like all these other people, that are basically just, you whatever, it's like you were just a passing person, you were just a person that was just like, hey, I just want to let you know that, you're incredible, whatever, I would never do that, but sometimes it works, and maybe you're that person's type and they're like, wait, don't leave, like I'm used to all these creeps, whatever, that just want me for whatever, or whatever, the thing is, is just, you never know, like any cute girl you see walk on the street probably has an OnlyFans, and that's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate reality, that we live in. So, you gotta get lucky. It's like after you meet the person initially, do your research on them afterwards, and then if you see that they do have an Instagram or whatever, but it's just pictures of them with their family and with their dog and stuff like that, fucking ring the bells, man. You fucking found yourself a winner, and they're not
Or you don't even have to do that at all. You know what you could do? I know I'm probably gonna get pushback from you guys, but really all you got to do is just be her friend. Be her friend, and she'll reveal to you so much more than you think. I know, because it's happened to me multiple times.
Well, I know. I know you're in the friend zone for a lot.
Friend zone them hard at first and let them work their way up. It can work that way, but even then, there's not always that guarantee.
Yeah, you run the risk of just being in the friend zone.
You're going to pretend. Well, no. If you friend zone them first,
that's different.
That can work out in your favor. But if she friend zones you, you might as well. It's either A, you throw up the white flag, or you do the opposite of everything she expects you to do, and maybe she changes how she views you. And infringement on the maybe there.
Look, I'm just look, man.
It's a big risk.
I don't know about you guys, but I know that when I had a good amount of friends that were women, I've told my story multiple times here. They will reveal so much to you, like you have no idea, dude. Like I've been told that they want to start. One of them wanted to start an OnlyFans because she was literally struggling economically, which is what I was about to say. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just hold off because I'm gonna just tell the story. woman literally, because she was struggling economically, she was living in a trailer park with like a family that she barely knew. She wanted to do OnlyFans because she really wanted to get out economically, you know? So like when you're their friends, they will reveal so much to you. And again, like all you really got to do is just sit there. You stop trying to like give advice to people and just listen to what they're telling you.
If you don't want anything with this girl, go ahead and be their friend. I said that earlier. If the girl isn't anything that you want to be with, then yeah, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, there's no point in having a female friend who you're gonna have to actually kind of get rid of once you actually get into a relationship, because I'm pretty sure women are pretty territorial. They're not going to want you to have a female friend that comes over and hangs out with you and watches Netflix, whatever. I don't fucking understand why you put yourself in that position anyway, dude. It's like, why? Well, you're put yourself in a position for a woman to siphon your boyfriend energy off of you, protection. You know, you get to basically spend time with her, whatever, with no actual benefit of an actual relationship, whatever. You guys are just kind of wading in the water a little bit, you know, just kind of wasting time, you know. It's like,
but it's because that's the thing, man. Like you're like, see, it's because I don't know, man. Like when you guys talk to me, I feel like you guys have like no idea how to be friends with like women. Like this is like stuff, because like right now I'm listening to you guys and I'm like, bro, like I don't think you guys have ever had like a group of friends where like women were involved.
A woman is gonna siphon that, kind of keep you in the orbit, whatever, because she knows that you like her, but she's just like, you know, she's like, I'm just gonna keep him as a friend or whatever, because you know I can still get what I want out of it. And he can feel like we're building towards something when really we're just friends.
That's crazy, man, that you see it like that. The way I see it, and it's crazy that like all of these gurus will always tell you the same thing. You want women in your circle because it'll attract more women. And yet you guys only see it in one way. You guys see it as like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely just a mule for this woman. That's not how I saw it at all. Like I'm telling you, like when I had women in my group, more and more women were just showing up. And then that's how like these women who started liking me, that started showing up, because they would see women, they would see a big group, they would say, oh, you know, I want to be a part of this group, not necessarily because they want to join my group because of me, but over time they will start developing feelings, not just for me but for other guys in the group. Some women will like me, and then some other women will like another person, you know. It was just the
that's
natural
happened to me
dynamics of
too.
like, yeah, it's just the natural dynamics of a group, like, you know. And again, like the woman's not doing it for me, she's doing it because she's curious about the group. She thinks that she can make a group of friends here, and then once she enters the group, she starts to see, oh, you know, like this guy isn't so bad, I actually like this guy, and then boom, you end up with a woman that's like developed feelings for you, you know. Or if the woman doesn't want to, if you don't like this woman, you know, you can let her down in her way, the way she communicates. You can let her down, and then of course you can have a friend that can help you out, attract more women. If you guys really want to see it objectively like that, where like you guys are attracting more and more women, you can do that.
So you kind of you're playing into the whole social proof thing, what you just said. You're basically, women see you with other women in your group, whatever, so they feel like it's safe, you know, because women can trust other women. They don't know if they can trust us or not, but if they see other women, that is social proof.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that you guys know this. That's why I explained it the way I did, because I'm like, you guys know the concept of social proof. So I'm going to explain it in that way, because when you guys explain to me the dynamic between a man and a woman, you're only looking at it as if like the man is the mule, or he's like subservient to like the woman, when that's not the case at all.
Hey, whatever works for you, Sonic. That's all I got to say, man. If it works for you, bro. No, because honestly, look where you're at. Look where you're at. That's not a dig towards you. No, hold on. That's not a dig towards you, Sonic, because everybody's on their own, like, you know, life path and stuff like that. If it works for you to, you know, take a pause, you know, from, you know, dating and stuff like that, so you can kind of like, you know, sort your life out and stuff like that. Every man is entitled to do that or whatever. I think that's good. You should be doing that. But then when it comes to ready to being settled down and stuff like that, are you going to have the wherewithal within to make that transition or make that choice to, you know, actively date with a purpose, instead of just kind of spinning your wheels or going this indirect route of becoming friends first and then just seeing where that lies?
You don't know this person though. Like you have to be friends with this person. Like to me, it's like you don't know
have
this
to be
person.
friends though. You can at least convey interest in the beginning to at least set the ball in motion rather than just kind of taking this route of like, oh well, it's not even like low investment. Actually it kind of is low investment because you're like, I'm just going to play it safe as well. It's a way of playing it safe without any risk because you're like, I just want a friend, I don't know.
Okay, so
It depends on
if you
how
approach him, hang on. Let me say this really quick. Because I really want to see what you guys are going to say about this. Okay, let's say hypothetically, okay, that you end up cold approaching this woman, right? You're like, you're performing your peacock moves or whatever, and then you somehow end up in a relationship with this woman, right? You literally know nothing about her, but yet you guys ended up in a relationship. For all we know, she could be hiding her body count. She could be hiding the fact that she has a second Instagram account with tight clothing. She could lie about having an OF. Like this is literally what you're putting yourself at risk. And
you're assuming, there's a lot of assuming there. You're assuming that I'm not asking the vetting questions though.
No, it's not that I'm assuming. It's just that this is what you guys believe. Actually, everybody in the manosphere believes that. That like,
you're assuming that I believe that.
Body count.
You're assuming that I believe that, Sonic. You're assuming that I didn't ask the vetting questions to vet this stuff out.
So you're gonna ask her straight up, do you have an OF? And you expect her to tell you the truth?
I won't ask her straight out, but I will observe the behavior and the temperament, and I might ask, what did your last relationship fall apart?
Yeah,
something like
I don't
that.
think she has to. I don't think she has to directly tell you.
No, a woman won't tell on herself, man. A woman who is sexually experienced, you can totally tell from a woman who is not sexually experienced. You can.
I don't know how you guys can tell that, but like, not all women are gonna look the way you think they're gonna look. I mean, unless of course you're trying to vet women at a club that almost have the same aesthetic blueprint. But when it comes to like regular
looking for a long-term relationship for a woman in a club you're already lost, man. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, man.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
you're looking in the wrong places.
No. But I'm saying that's how you guys potentially look at these women. Like, you guys look at them as like women who are club goers. I'm talking about just regular, average women. That's what I'm talking about. When you're friends,
how do you
with
assume
these
that
women,
I'm not talking about regular women?
Can I say this really quick, Cam, before I forget it?
Go ahead.
Because I really want to say this to you.
Go ahead.
Okay, you said that in order for you to determine whether a woman is lying or not, you have to like not pay attention to what she's saying or whatever, but like instead
not lying. No, not lying. Vetting. You ask vetting questions, whatever, in order to determine whether.
But you said that you're gonna like observe her behavior, right?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, the reason why I assume that you are talking about club going women is because of the way your language is, because of what you say, the way you behave. It tells me that you're talking about these women. Like for instance, when I asked you the women, if a cute woman went up to you, on a scale from 1 to 10, you immediately say that my women are much hotter than your women.
That's just in general. I'm just speaking generally.
Yeah, but like again, like these signals. This is what signals to me that you're potentially thinking about these kinds of women, though. It's stuff like that.
I'm very picky though with women. Like the type of women that I'm attracted to, I'm very picky. So, whereas I think any woman that approached you probably would give them a chance.
I mean, I can't deny the attraction, like
that's the difference between you and me. That's the difference between you and me. Like,
no.
I will not take any. No. I'm just what you just answered. You could have been like, no, that's actually not the case, but you didn't say that.
Well, because there's nuance to what I have to say. Like you're assuming that like I'm like operating on a black and white spectrum. Like I'm not. Like I'm operating like on a very damn. I feel like I'm gonna walk into a joke here, but I'm gonna just say it. Please. I'm walking into a colorful spectrum. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, rainbow spectrum, right?
Yeah, I'm not gay. I'm just saying that there's like a ton of nuance in between. There's like so much color, so many blends of ideas that are going on. But I feel like you're assuming that like I'm thinking about this in black and white terms.
I honestly, Sonic, I hope a woman finds you, and I hope she takes you and takes you off the market and stuff, and you can.
I don't want to be taken off the market. I'm expensive.
Okay, I hope the let's call it the sugar mama comes to you and plucks you and basically takes you out of circulation, man. Because honestly, man, I think that's going to be how it's going to. I hope that for you, you know, because I would hate for you to wait your entire life for a woman to approach you, and just because that's how you want things to be.
But I've already told you multiple times in my stories that women have approached me, but I reject them because of their behavior, because of what they reveal to me. Like that's what I'm saying, you know. And the thing is that I don't even have to wait for women to approach me, because the reality is that, like I said, like, you know, when you look at how women behave, how they operate, you don't have to wait for a cold approach from a woman. That probably might not even happen. Who knows? Because, you know, of all the danger in her mind that she's probably imagining. The way it looks like is if you're joining groups with women in the group, you're probably most likely going to be approached by a woman. If you know, you're very active on social media, talking to people, you're part of a community, you're most likely going to be talked to by a woman. Like, it's stuff like this that, like, women, because I don't know if you guys think that, like, women approach just random men. That's just not how it works. Like, women approach you because they see activity. If they see activity, or if you're a part of activity, they will approach you.
It's uncommon though.
Yeah, you know, it seems like you want to be on equal footing with women in terms of like they can go to you and talk to you about like some guy that they're interested in. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I don't want to be your wingman, you know? Never. I'm good.
I don't know. I think that what Kavo said was actually correct. Yeah, I think that you're right. Like, this does actually apply to like some, because for me, like, I can easily just, like, because I have a really creative profile, I have those skills to like build something like that, you know. But like, you know, like, most men don't exactly have like illustrative skills. I know Camp does. You could definitely pull that off because I've seen your skills. But like, not a lot of men have like those artistic skills, you know, to pull something like that off, or even like writing skills. You know, or even want to like,
dude, even if I attract a woman with my social profile and stuff like that, I still have to, at the end of the day, bring the ball all the way back to the end zone. You know, I have to still, with my confidence, my tonation, you know, my whatever I have going for myself, I have to be able to convince the woman that that's worth taking on, you know, or if that's worth, you know.
Can I just change your perspective, or potentially change your perspective? When you say I have to like exuberate confidence.
Yeah.
I don't know what your idea of confidence is, but I would assume that it's probably like this idea of like, you have to like carry yourself with authority and you know, firmness. Like, that's not what confidence is. Confidence is just
being willing to walk away,
who you are.
Yeah, no, being willing to walk away, not compromise my values, basically, you know, like
right.
Putting it all on the table. And if it isn't what she likes, then that's it. And guess what? It's fine. It's not a big deal if it doesn't work out, you know. Kind of what Patrick David was talking about, like with approaching his potential wife, whatever, saying like, hey, I'm not here to hook up. I'm here to look for a wife. He was dating with a purpose, whatever. And, you know, that would filter out some girls actually that are just like, they're just looking for a good time, you know, and they're not ready to settle down. That approach would probably fail with a lot of girls, because the girls like, whoa, I'm not ready to settle down, whatever, I'm just getting started, you know. But that would filter out, you know, girls that aren't serious, you know. And some girls would be like, okay, you know, like I'm actually looking for a husband too, or I'm looking for a guy that, you know, is willing to take me serious, you know, and all that, you know. Some women that come from, you know, religious backgrounds or family oriented backgrounds and stuff, really close ties with family and stuff, that's what they're looking for, you know. But like I said, you know, it's like his approach worked for him because he was serious about dating with a purpose. And that's what I'm trying to say is like, if you date with a purpose, then yeah, you will get the results you want. But if you are just kind of going out here and just kind of just doing whatever, you know, I mean, your approach, I'm not going to say it's the wrong approach. I'm just going to say it's not my approach. That's all. You know, it's like if I like a girl, I'm going to convey interest. I'm not going to be like this. I'm not going to play as a friend, you know, until I get what I want. I just think that's playing the long game, and to the point where you enter into diminishing returns, you know, because you could invest all this time.
Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna ask.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you think, like, would you advise men to get married? Like, you think men should just strive to marry when they're dating?
I think that you're gonna need some experience first, to know what you want. Don't just marry the first girl that comes along. Kind of, I'm not saying get like 50 bodies or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, you kind of want to put yourself out there to know what you like and what you don't like. And then when you see the person that has all of those qualities that you've been looking for, and you're like, wow, I don't want to, this person, I can already look in their eyes and I can already see my wife. When that happens, you should either make the choice to do it, if you get that inclination. But if that doesn't come, then don't do it. I hope that answers your question, because, I mean, at least in my situation, when I got to actually meet my wife and speak with her, spend time with her and stuff like that, she wasn't my wife then, but it was everything that was happening was like, yeah, like, this person I totally can see the rest of my life with. And if that doesn't happen for you, then yeah, that's not the person. But like, she was, and I was just like, when you feel like, if I'm going to regret this, if I do not pursue this person, then yeah, I mean, that's how, at least how I felt in the moment. And I'm glad that I did it, So there's a lot of things that have to kind of fall into place, but also things that you need to kind of have in place as well. You have to be ready to settle down. And then also it kind of has to be kind of perfect. The person has to be, ready as well. So at least my answer would be like, yeah, if you are ready to get married and you find the girl that, is put you in that mindset, whatever, and she doesn't have any crazy hangups or whatever like that, then yeah, I think you should totally get married. Totally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'd like to ask Sonic maybe to see his answer. I just think there's a very different polarity in your guys's like worldview when it comes to dating, because I'm not sure. I'm getting the feeling that Sonic doesn't want to get married, and perhaps maybe he sees that he doesn't think other men should get married, whereas you do hold that viewpoint, Camp, which is why I think there's such a
I think go ahead, Sonic. But I'll just put a stamp on this is that if you find that person that you get all that feeling with, whatever, and you're willing to take the risk, then yeah, take the risk. But if you want to play it safe the rest of your life and not put yourself in that position, then yeah, that's your choice too. So
I was just gonna say that he deduced that correctly. Like, yeah, Camp is definitely the antithesis of me. Like, he believes in marriage. I actually don't believe in marriage, but it's not because like I don't think that men should, like, I guess clip on the ball and chain, but it's because of just it's too complicated to do all of that. Like, if you don't want to be with this person anymore, like, you have to go through an entire legal channel to divorce this woman. I don't know, man.
It's moving in fear, man. That's moving in fear.
No, it's not even moving in fear. It's just
it is. No,
financially, it just doesn't make sense why somebody would do that.
You are already seeing the negative aspect of marriage.
Or,
you're already going into it with the mindset that it could potentially fall apart.
No, it's not even that it'll fall apart. I'm just saying that, like, it just doesn't make sense financially to do all of that.
Okay.
To me, I think it's best just to, stay. If you're gonna be with the partner, just be with the partner. There's no need to do all of these festivity ceremonies or even get married. I think that it's crazy that people even do that. What absolutely blows my mind is that, like, how this country encourages it by like creating laws in order for people to get married, which to me, I think it's crazy. I guess it's just to incentivize couples to stay together so they can stay with the kid, which I totally get, but we're living in a different world now, man.
On that note, I actually have to go take my wife to work, unfortunately. We can probably pick this up sometime next time, but Sonic,
there's still a lot to talk about.
No, we
man.
got a
Not
lot.
gonna
We
lie.
got a lot to talk about, and I'm glad you guys came together on this stream. We can talk about this stuff. I mean, I missed you guys, but yeah, man, I just don't kind of go in with an open mind. Like anything can happen in your life, Sonic, and if you decide that for yourself at this early age, it's gonna be a lot tougher. It's not only gonna get harder.
I'll note that. I'll definitely note that down.
This world is not set up for one person to go through life alone. It's not. It just isn't. It's going to get more and more expensive, and you're going to need that support system when you get old. I appreciate you guys for contributing to the conversation. We will do this again, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you guys.
Hey guys.
See you, Camp. Take
Have
care.
a good night. Peace
Take care,
out, guys.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Later.